Howdy, folks. Welcome back to Between the Lodge, the number one Hunt Showdown podcast by default. This episode is sponsored by absolutely nobody, but you could be the first. Small business, large business, I'm game. Email me at the business email below and hit me up. Today, I'm joined by three newer Hunt Showdown players with a variety of hours and experiences to discuss today. This is the antithesis of the previous cast, which included some of the most die-hard players in the community with the most hours possible in 6-star MMR. This, today, is a unique opportunity to break apart the new player experience and see how Hunt has been onboarding new hunters. I wanted to announce a couple things quickly before we start, though, if you'll give me a moment. Firstly, there's only a week or so left to participate in the community banner competition that we are celebrating in Community Month. Don't miss your chance to win $200 USD out of my own pocket and immortalize yourself with the original art or memes becoming the official Hunter's Lodge YouTube channel banner. More information in the Discord below, which you can join with the link in the comments. Secondly, I have an important announcement to make and something I'm very excited about. I'm beginning a full sweep of Hunt Showdown lore content, but I'm not just going to be reading it to you via text verbatim. We'll be tackling it in some more unique storytelling formats with opportunities for our community members to voice their favorite hunters. If you'd be interested in joining this massive community project, please reach out to me at the email in the comments below. It will be pinned, where if you may be interested in voicing a certain hunter or you think you've got a good voice for anybody involved, just email me with some demo reels of you recording anything as that hunter, testing out the voice. You don't need to be super professional, I understand. This is for fun. If the audio quality is reasonable and I like the cut of your jib, I'll probably reach out to you and we'll coordinate something going forward. There's much more to come on this in the next month. February is going to be huge for the channel, but I have such high hopes for this and it's going to be a lot of fun. But that's enough preamble for me. Today is about this community on this community cast. Hunters from left to right at our studio table, or I guess desk. Sound off with your name, your hours, and if you want to say anything else, I'm not going to stop you. Be my guest.
Hello, my name's Kelpy. I've got around, I've already forgotten how many hours I've got, but I've already said it. I've got 650 hours.
Let's go.
Around 650, so I've got a little bit more than the other guys on here. And I'm around a 3 to 4 star player.
Hello, everybody. I'll be going by the name of Stone in this podcast. I have 40 hours in this game, and right now my personal MMR is 3 stars, usually hanging out in 2-star lobbies at the moment.
Hello, I am TedleBob. I have 104 hours in the game, and I've been 3 MMR for most of those. And I just hope we have a good podcast.
Oh yeah, and you all know me as Horse, the co-host or co-host of this podcast. I have 330 hours, and I hang around 3 to 4 star MMR regularly. But today, we've got a lot of topics to cover and a lot of stuff to talk about in general. So we've discussed how many hours each of you hunters have and what MMR you have, but I'm curious about how you all got into Hunt and what made you keep playing, because onboarding is a big issue in the community for new players. So I'm really curious as to what made you guys all want to keep playing after you got probably mollywopped quite a few times in your lobbies like I did when I started. Anybody can start.
I'll go ahead if that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
So I've always really enjoyed like semi-realistic games. So like going back to like when I was growing up, I used to love like the Battlefield series, like back in the day with like Bad Company, and stuff along those lines. Like the more arcadey stuff like Call of Duty never appealed to me as much. And I remember when I got my gaming PC a few years ago, I was always try to like dip my toes into like more realistic games, sort of like military games like Squad or Escape from Tarkov. And I always ended up feeling quite like mentally exhausted after a play session, but not in like a satisfying way. It was more just like, oh man, like that was you know, it was fun, but I feel like genuinely like knackered, like I need a break. And it was sort of frustrating because I was like, I really want this realism, but I'm sort of missing like the fun factor that I used to get with something like Battlefield that mixed it up so well. And then obviously Hunt is sort of a perfect mix between arcadey realism and coming from someone who loves like old Western movies. It's sort of like my dream game. And I think what keeps me playing personally, although it can be frustrating and difficult, especially when you're starting out, is it respects your time. Unlike games I've played like Tarkov, where I feel like it's sort of, I don't know, I feel like the game's just putting a middle finger in my face 90% of the time.
It is.
Yeah, and I just come out of it feeling sort of exhausted and just not like satisfied. Like where Hunt is, you can have a 4-hour session and you might lose every match, you might die in every single one, but most of the time I'm having a lot of fun, and I think that's the main thing. It's really good fun.
You're up, Stone.
Yeah, I'll go next. So for me, what got me into Hunt, I definitely really like the art style. When I saw the first couple of clips of the game, I was like, "What am I looking at?" Didn't really know, but yeah, okay. I'm sorry.
But brother, you're fine. Yeah, we can get back to you if you want to think about it for a minute.
Yeah, sure. Go to
Okay.
TedleBob first.
All right, go ahead, Bob.
Take a second.
So I think I'm not exactly sure, but I think the thing that introduced me was General Sam's "The Sad Life of Solo Hunters." I just thought that video was the funniest thing I've ever seen, and so I kind of talked with my cousin who played Hunt, and then he kind of convinced me to buy the game, and eventually I just kind of fell in love with the atmosphere, the music. And the thing that keeps me playing the most is probably shooting for a 1.0 KDR. I can't stop grinding on that.
You got to go for yourself. I respect the hell out of it.
Yeah.
I'll never get there, but I get it. All right, Stone, you ready?
Yeah. So I'm somebody who likes a lot of different kind of games. Like I do like the Call of Duty. I also play stuff like Finals, and I used to play Rainbow Six Siege. So I'm into a lot of different kind of shooters. And Hunt, what made Hunt specifically interesting is the fact that it is set in a like cowboy-like world. Loved Red Dead Redemption, and the single fire rifles, they make for some really interesting gunplay. It's a lot slower paced than a lot of these other games. I think it's really interesting, the high stakes in the game. Like you can just get one shot if you're not paying attention, and all of this tension and that is building up during a match. That is kind of what keeps me playing. I really like the fact that you have to be strategical, maybe even a bit sneaky, to get what you need in this game. Like you cannot just sprint around the map, go run and gun, and expect to come out alive. You really need to focus, listen, and pay attention to everything that's happening around you. And that personally is what I find really interesting about the game.
I completely agree. There's actually, this is something I've noticed a lot. There's a lot of Red Dead Redemption fans that end up playing Hunt. I feel like once you've beaten either of the games,
are really similar.
Yeah, once you've beaten either of the games, you're like, damn, I can't get a unique cowboy experience like this anywhere else, and they end up in Hunt. There's like no competition. There's nobody else trying to do exactly what Hunt's doing the way they do it, which is kind of cool.
No, indeed. I've heard of this one game that's like Witchfire has a similar
Oh my
style.
god! I'm so happy you brought that up, bro. I grinded on Witchfire for like 2 weeks. It was like PvE Hunt. I was gonna make a video about it. It's so good. Highly recommend.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet, but I've seen some gameplay. Like, I was kind of deciding between playing Witchfire or playing Hunt. Which was
interesting.
And I chose Hunt because PvP, my preference goes a little more towards the PvP, and also Witchfire is still in early access, so I decided to wait a little bit to see where that goes.
Definitely, they have a lot they need to add to the game still. There's like 3 whole worlds, essentially, is what I'll call them, that aren't even in the game yet. So it's a good time to wait, but it's definitely worth it. If any of you in the audience have ever been like, damn, I love how Hunt feels, but I hate getting shot in the face with a Maynard sniper, try Witchfire. It's great.
I've never heard of Witchfire. What's its deal?
So basically, it's like it's PvE exclusively single player. It's like an extraction shooter.
It's a roguelike, right?
Exactly. You're a witch,
Yeah.
and what you're doing is going to these different like cursed realms and clearing out all the monsters in there and trying to like uncover the secrets of these areas while upgrading your weapons, your arsenal, your loadouts. You get temporary buffs in each of the missions that you lose when you leave, and then you get more when you go back. That's the roguelite aspect of it. There's a ton of customization. There's a ton of upgrades for loadouts, and it's a lot of fun.
It gets hard.
It gets really, dude. It's like the difficulty curve is like a fucking just 90-degree angle straight up. It's so hard.
For like the first 2 hours, you'd be like, I can do this. And then like you hit like hour 3 or 4 and it will be like Doom Eternal on like nightmare mode.
It gets hard,
like,
but I find that it is worth the challenge and you end up with some unique loadouts. And the only reason I'm talking about it this much is because it genuinely feels like PvE Hunt in a lot of ways. Like because for those who don't know, Hunt was supposed to be PvE before it became Hunt Showdown. Before Hunt Showdown, it was handled by the American studio, and it was like Hunt Legends of the Gilded Age or something, and it was basically Left 4 Dead, but in the Hunt universe. And it wouldn't have gone over well, in my opinion, but either way, they ended up scrapping it, sent it over to Crytek in the German headquarters, and they reworked it into Hunt Showdown. So, PvE could have been all Hunt was, but it's not.
Maybe this would actually be a good time to transition into what we were talking about before. Does Hunt need a PvE mode?
So fuck it, we can talk about that now, sure. I don't think, here's the thing. I understand where you're coming from, I really do. My problem with that is that Hunt is not built for PvE exclusively. The game is designed for the PvE to be very lackluster, or the PvE, I mean, to be very lackluster. You're gonna shove shit to the side. You can one-hit 90% of the stuff you're dealing with. If there's not if you're not poisoned and there's not a meathead sniffing your cheeks, you're probably fine. So they would have to greatly rework that game mode to be a lot more difficult, I think. For it to be
they would definitely need to spice it up. I agree. Like right now, the PvE is more of it kind of ties into the whole noise trap of the world.
Yes.
Like if you're killing enemies, you're making noise. If they hear you, like sometimes me as a new player, in the beginning, it was kind of a pain in the ass if you run into something like a hive or an immolator, like especially the immolator. If you don't know to hit it with blunt damage, you're just dead. So yeah. But indeed, after even 10, 20 hours, you learn how to deal with all of them. It's really easy. If that would be the only thing trying to kill you, maybe people would get bored pretty quick.
I feel like the immolator is... I feel like every new player has their first oh shit moment with an immolator. Like everyone just goes to like stab it or shoot it, blows up, burns to death, and just sees you've died on the screen. Like what?
Listen, it's not even new players that get me killed from immolators. It's my friends who see the immolator chasing me and then they fucking shoot it.
On purpose.
On purpose. Yeah. It happens
way too often. But I do think it's interesting a PvE mode. Like, indeed, it might be too easy, and for most people, might not be interested. But I think there is definitely a portion of the player base that really doesn't like PvP, but they do like the atmosphere, the guns, all of that stuff. Yes. So, I think
do we need it? No, but would it be nice? Yes.
Yeah, I think it would make a portion of the player base really happy. Like, I don't know.
Bob, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think early in the game, I was really grappling with the PvP. Like, I would empty my entire ammo reserve on like the butcher or something when I was fighting him. But as you progress in the game, you just kind of see it as more of an obstacle. So personally, I don't think PvP would be too rewarding, but I can definitely see some of the appeal at least.
PvE, you mean? But yes.
Yeah.
I gotcha. So I think we have a topic later we're going to talk about, which is other game modes. That's a highly contentious topic that I'd love to get everybody's perspectives on. We could probably move towards that a little bit, not just the PvE mode, because frankly, You guys as new players probably have a great perspective on this. How do you feel about Hunt introducing other game modes? We recently got Bounty Clash, which is literally the only game mode that's been added to Hunt in like 4 years, so since Soul Survivor got added. So how do you feel about Hunt? Does it need new game modes? Do you have any ideas? Anybody can jump in.
So
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
actually really liked Soul Survivor. It was basically my tutorial. It taught me how to deal with PvP, which weapons I liked. I kind of want to see something like that with another game mode, something fresh that can like help players along with less stakes.
For me personally, I've used Bounty Clash up to this point as my warm-up mode because obviously you fight teams, and I mainly play solo because at the moment I have nobody that plays the game. Soul Survivor, I've tried it once early on, but I just felt like I think Soul Survivor doesn't take your MMR into account, right? Like you're fighting any skill level.
So so it has its own MMR, I think, actually.
Oh, it's separated from the rest. All right. Yeah. Anyways, I felt like I was just solo against other solos. I don't know, like fighting a team, you can confuse them, and they maybe think that you also have a team. So when I talk about my loadout, I'll get into my playstyle a bit more. But yeah, Bounty Clash has been a good mode. Soul Survivor, not so much for me, and then I mainly play just random contracts on Bounty Hunt. Does it need more game modes? I'm not sure. Like I think maybe some custom game modes would be fun. Like Kelpy was talking about it before. Something.
Yeah.
But for example, something like a capture the flag or a team deathmatch, I don't really see that kind of stuff in Hunt. Personally.
That's fair.
No.
That's fair.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I like the addition of Bounty Clash. I think it was mentioned in the last podcast a few times. I may be wrong, but I personally use it as my warm up now, where I used to use Soul Survivor. If I just need to quickly get some aim training in, I think Bounty Clash is great for that. And it's sort of a switch your brain off mode of Hunt Showdown, and I don't mind it. I have a lot of fun in it. But I hope this doesn't come across as too like boring, but I don't want any more game modes.
That's okay.
I sort of think, I think they should just keep expanding on Bounty Hunt, which is the game. I think they could do so much with it. What that is, I don't know, but I feel like they could do so much more with Bounty Hunt as a mode, and keep adding to it. Keep adding some more like roaming AI, some maybe like wild targets, another like main boss, and just keep mixing it up with that game mode. And then now we've got Bounty Clash and Soul Survivor. Yeah, I think we're fine. But as we were talking about earlier, and again, this was talked in depth in the last podcast, but having more options in the private lobbies in like the shooting range would be a game changer. I think like incredibly would be just amazing for the community. I think that would really open so many doors. And if you think how you think of like so many clickbait YouTube videos, like I put 30 hunters in one match with railroad hammers, this is what happens, something like that. Like I don't know, just think of like think of like the flexibility. Awesome. Yeah, like, how fun that could be. And yeah, that I think if they were going to go down any route in terms of adding a new content in terms of like gameplay, that would be a really good choice.
This is so interesting because I don't know if any of you have like watched any of my other casts, especially the last one in particular. People that have put thousands of hours into Hunt, they are begging for new game modes, and then people who are new to Hunt want more of actual bounty hunt. They want more of the base core gameplay of Hunt. It's so funny to see the complete opposite perspectives here. It's like the more time you put in Hunt, you're begging for something fresh, but when you're new, you just want more of the game itself.
Interesting.
Yeah, I honestly can understand it. Even as a new player, I can see that somebody who has been playing this game for thousands of hours could get kind of burned out on playing the same mode over and over again, because they know the maps through and through. For them, there is nothing new to discover. They're just loading in and probably going through the motions at one point.
Sure.
And I do want to touch back on what you said about the custom lobbies. As a new player, I would really appreciate if we could load into private matches with friends, but also alone. Any map, any point of interest, you just have access to all of it, because the maps are really hard to learn. And if you can load into your own matches, you can just walk around, explore the compounds a bit before you load into online play, so you have some idea of what you're going into instead of just going blindly against people who probably know the map a lot better than you.
Yeah,
No, bro, I'm right there with you, dude. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I've been like sniped by somebody hiding in a little crevice somewhere, and like I didn't even know that spot existed. It'd be really nice if I just had a kind of chill space to kind of figure things out.
Which they used to have, I believe.
So what it
Oh,
was,
yeah.
it was
Content
trials.
creation.
It was
Those
trials.
are nice.
It would also be great for content creation. Like Horse, you used to do the, what was it? Explore the
Exploring
hunts.
hunt, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Those
so
videos were so fun, and you said that you stopped them because
I was gonna bring it up.
Yeah.
No, it's
By
there.
all means.
I genuinely believe, and I'm not here to like suck my own dick. I hate that type of stuff. I genuinely believe there is nobody else who has made a single video exactly like that on hunt on YouTube, like exploring hunt. And I loved it, dude. Just thinking about that series makes me blush. It was so much fun. I loved to focus on the little aspects of the art, all the details in each compound. Even the last one, I was experimenting with like making my own lore for that compound to explain how everything happened. Like there was a lot of cool stuff that I could have done there. But the only reason those 3 exploring hunt videos were possible was because of the vacuum of time I was in. It was that month where only Mammon's Gulch was available as a map. So, because for people that don't know, I would literally load into a bounty hunt match with my bare fucking dukes out, or maybe a single pistol, and then a vitality shot, specifically so that I could have the least amount of clutter on my screen possible to record angles of things. And then I would spawn anywhere on the map. I would run across the entire map to get to my compound, and anything that you can think of that could happen would happen. I would die, somebody would kill me, I would spawn across the map and have to waste 5 fucking minutes running across the whole map just to get to my compound. Only, oh no, they just beat Butcher and they're extracting. Sorry, buddy, you've got a 5-minute timer on your screen now. So imagine that multiple times, wasting hours and hours of your day just trying to record the side of a rock next to fucking Grizzly Lodge. And then and it makes you so mad and frustrated. You've lost so many hunters and hunt dollars, and all you want to do is record this fucking compound for video. And now there's 3 maps. So I can't even guarantee that I would spawn on Mammoth's Gulch to get to the compound that I need. So there's way too many variables, and it wastes way too much of any human's time to try and do that. So I had to literally give up a series that I loved to make because it's not feasible. Because they won't offer me any aspect of content creator friendly tools to do that. And trials like the custom lobby or just being able to explore the maps as a solo would offer me that avenue again. And I would be able to do that series again. So I'm happy to see more people feel the way I do about it. I would love to have something like that.
Yeah, it definitely adds a lot to the community and also the vibe you get when you're playing the game. Like the more lore you learn, the more you get immersed into this world and the world builds in your head. Yeah, it's definitely a pity that right now it's not possible anymore.
Yeah, and I feel like those kind of videos too introduce a lot of new people to Hunt Showdown. So them being incredibly difficult to make really just kind of blocks off that avenue for a lot of people.
I agree. Like especially like obviously talking of stuff they've removed, like they obviously got rid of like the law books. Obviously, everyone knows. But yeah, there were so many videos of lore back in the day when you used to like Google Hunt, when you used to YouTube like Hunt Showdown. It would mainly just be like lore videos and stuff, and it's just a shame that they've got rid of it because it's something that because I 90% of my hours are after the big update. I didn't really ever look into the lore tabs and stuff, and it's sort of one of those things now where I wish I did, because now if I want to I have to look online or go to a website, and that's a shame.
Yeah, it loses some of the charm.
me as a new player, it is that I watch a lot of YouTube, and also to learn the game in the beginning, I was looking for YouTube videos. That's how I came across Horse's channel and found those videos as well. But if I hadn't thoroughly looked for it myself, I would know absolutely nothing about the lore. The game does not tell you anything about it. Like, you just have some characters. Like, you could just load into this game and see the characters just as some skins, and that's it.
What frustrates me the most personally, and this may be a case where it's just the UI or I'm being a fucking idiot, but like, have they? Please correct me if I'm wrong. Have they removed all like the bios
They
from
did.
the hunters?
You can only view
Yeah,
a
like-
hunter's bio if you don't own the hunter, because in the
That's
shop,
insane to
when
me.
you preview them, it will give you the paragraph of their lore. But if you own the hunter, you literally cannot see it. It's not there.
That's crazy.
So
I
you
didn't
can
even
only
notice
view
that.
the lore of hunters either outside from the wiki, or some other form, or if you don't own the hunter yet.
I'm really hoping that's a UI like overlook and not a choice. I'm hoping it's a mistake and that's not meant to be a thing.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the a lot of my fun in the first part of the game was just trying to figure out the lore and what happened.
Yeah, it's a shame, especially for like you guys like much newer players. You've just got nothing to go off. Like if you weren't YouTubing stuff or looking online, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Why have I got a guy dressed as I don't know, like a old 1800s fireman running around, and why have I got a clown running around with a fucking railroad hammer? Like all this stuff. Like
Right.
I don't know.
It's really frustrating because the lore of Hunt is very deep and rich when you can find it, but they refuse to make it accessible for anybody. For those who aren't aware, if you're especially a casual player, so some events, they had straight up lore passages, some were even voice acted in the battle pass, right? And now, anytime there's a previous battle pass, once that event ends, that lore is gone. It's gone. It's nowhere to be found. You have to go to an outside source where somebody, a fan of Hunt, took the time to record that information. That's it. So if nobody's done that, that lore is just gone forever. There's nowhere to find that lore. This person sent a letter to this person. This person talked to this person got interviewed by the AHA. That's just gone. And I hate that so much. I want more of the lore to be in the game itself. If they had a whole like lore tab that people could access old stuff, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
Even if they would have stuff like small Easter eggs in the game that players can find and that tie into the lore. I don't know if anything like that exists. I honestly haven't looked for it.
There are small things. There are small things.
Really?
For example, there's what is it? There's like posters, for example, of like the first Hellhound basically that existed. It was like just a lost dog. There's a poster from the redneck on one of the maps. Looking for a lost horse or something, or somebody like stole his chickens or some bullshit. But he put up a poster. There's small things like that, but it's not significant. And frankly, 90% of the player base wouldn't find it or even know to look for it. They're just playing the game.
I just don't, I can understand to a degree. Absolutely, I'm not a developer, so I don't know 100%. But I can understand why they got. They got rid of certain stuff like trials. I can understand to a degree, but stuff like the lore page, I don't know. I would love to see the reasoning behind that. I really would.
Well, actually, so David Fifield's talked about it a little bit.
Okay.
Not publicly in a big article, but while being interviewed by one of the Twitch streamers that plays Hunt. Basically, they didn't like how the books were implemented in game, and they removed them ahead of time, and they planned on implementing them in a better way.
Yes.
However, due to backlash, they then uploaded them to the Hunt website itself, so that the books are now on there, so people can view them because of the backlash of them being completely removed forever. So now the previous lore books, what the fuck is it called? The Monster something.
Monstrum or something?
The
Right,
Monstorium, the Monstorvium. All of those books are on the Hunt website officially. You can view them. But they will be implementing something new in the future in-game, apparently. We just aren't there yet. That's about all we know, actually. There's like no other information on lore other than they're not bringing the books in their current iteration back to the game. That is confirmed. They are not putting them back in the game.
Yeah, I don't know. Try to stay positive. I like to think they're not going to just entirely forget about it. Hopefully, we'll see it come back in some meaningful way, and because I think that's something that would make a lot of people really happy, especially a lot of the veteran players.
Yeah. On the previous guys, we talked about it a bit. If they had like written Hunt lore books, like physical real life books printed with Hunt lore, but would you guys ever be interested in that? I would
Pre-order.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it'd be really fucking cool.
Yeah,
and that's fine if you
wouldn't.
wouldn't. That's fine if you wouldn't. That's fine. But like, but doesn't the idea of that still sound interesting? Even if you're not personally interested in it.
I was gonna say I indeed really like the idea. Like for myself, I have some physical books of Sea of Thieves.
Yeah,
and who knows?
Awesome.
Those are really cool. Like they made, for example, like a diary of a pirate. I won't go into it too deep because we're talking about Hunt. But anyways, that really adds to the game as well. Like, let's say I keep playing Hunt and I'm at 100 hours. Who knows? Maybe I would buy such a book. I would definitely be interested in it at least.
Right.
Would be really cool.
Yeah. It helps people who are like, if they can't get the attachment in game from just gameplay, stuff like a lore book they can physically own, hold, and read will help them get an emotional attachment outside of the gameplay itself. And that's how you get a lot of long-term longevity in a game, is stuff like that.
I also really like the trailers they do. For example, the trailers they did for the event.
Yeah.
With Post Malone and the circus. Those were amazing. But when I was deciding to buy the game, I looked at the store page and that was actually one of the first things I saw at that moment. And honestly, I was instantly sold. I was like, fuck yes, I need this.
Like, if there's anything you could say about Hunt, the only thing that has never taken a back step a single time are the trailers. They've only gotten better. That is the one thing about Hunt that has only gotten better, is the trailers.
And even if they would bring out... Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to ask out of curiosity. When you saw the advertisements for the Murder Circus and you saw Post Malone, what did you think of that? What did you think of seeing Post Malone there? Did that bring you in more?
Personally, I'm not a fan of his music, but I do like the guy. Like I've seen him here and there. He is a fun character. But it's not necessarily that it brought me in more or turned me away. But I just thought, oh, cool, he is here too. You know, it was more that kind of reaction I had to Post Malone in particular. But the whole Murder Circus and the way that his character acts, that definitely brought me in more and made me want to buy the game more. Even though in the game itself, like, you don't really encounter him, like he's a skin for other hunters. But yeah, it was definitely it helped convince me, let's say.
Cool.
Yeah,
the video, not Post Malone in particular.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Stone. I'm not like a huge fan of Post Malone. I hear his music, but that's the extent. But I just love the vibes of the circus. I think that was a really cool direction they took with that. And I'm really glad that it turned out like it did.
I feel the same. I'm actually, even though I haven't been playing Hunt lately because being worked to death, I still love the game. And I thought this event was extremely well implemented. They did a lot of fun stuff, a lot of unique stuff. And even the Post Malone stuff, for the most part, was well implemented. They did a pretty good job, in my opinion, of making him feel like a character in the world of Hunt, and not like they just plucked Post Malone out of 2024 and stuck him in a video game.
Yeah, it's like they had an NPC version of Post Malone in the circus, like singing.
In regular people clothes, like it's Fortnite.
No.
Yo, the Post Malone Hunt Showdown concert. I hate it.
He's singing all of his country music that he's making now.
Okay. His country, I like his country music. I'll die on that hill. However, it would piss me the fuck off seeing him as actually Post Malone in game.
Yeah, his music is way too modern for it to be actually in the game.
I would hate it so much, dude. I'd be like, what the fuck what is this, what is...
Maybe it could be a cool Easter egg if he was just sitting somewhere in the in the corner of the circus, just fiddling a bit on a guitar, but that's it. Like nothing crazy.
Oh my god. Hunt Malone,
sure.
bro. Hunt Malone down. That's all it is. It's cooked. Oh my god. So, as a whole, this event, how do you folks, as newer players, feel about it in general? What, like, how it introduced you to the game a little bit, like, or rather, did it help you get more into the game? Are you digging the vibes? How do you feel about the music, the art direction, whatever you want to talk about? How do you feel about this event?
Yeah, I have not played any of the game in its regular state. The event is all I've seen, so I have nothing to compare to.
That's fair.
So that's kind of interesting, maybe. But I have to say, I do really like the event. Like, I'm guessing that normal hunt is without the troops, like the trick shooter and the poltergeist and that kind of stuff. That's not there usually.
Correct.
And the tent is not there, but the rest is all a regular part of the game. Am I wrong?
So, you're not wrong. So the tent won't be there in the normal game of Hunt, unless there's like weekend, what they're called wild cards. They used to do them a lot. There's special variables where like there'll be fire, or there'll be rain, or there'll be some bullshit. Besides that,
talk about that.
right? We will talk about that. Besides that, the regular game of Hunt is the base game that you are playing without the troops, without the shredder, without the tent, and without Ursa Mortis or the clown mobs, any of that. That is all unique to the event. Once the event's over, you'll just have regular mobs, your regular grunts, your regular meatheads, all that stuff, and you'll be loading into a match on any map. There won't be a circus tent there, and you won't have packs, which are your troops this time around. They're normally called packs. So there's a lot less going on in the game when there's not an event.
I will say that, again, I don't want to be super negative, but
Brother,
I was,
be you, be honest.
okay, I was a little bit disappointed with the event personally.
Okay.
I know they were sort of, they kept referring to it as their biggest event yet, and I was really excited. And again, I didn't play any, or like I'm trying to think back to the previous events, like before the update, very, very casually, didn't really know much about the game, but I remember like briefly playing the Inferno, where the entire map was sort of lit on fire. And I remember, like, for example, the Rotjaw, these events that really did change the game, in my opinion, where, this is a new boss that's a wild target boss, and it's outside. You're going to be fighting this boss outside, which was, I can imagine, a genuinely a massive game change at the time. I might be wrong with that. And that
no,
came
you're
with, like,
not. It was crazy, man. Tide of Shadows is my favorite event. It was fucking wild when Rotjaw came out.
And am I right in saying that came along with the weather of like thunderstorms and rain?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then obviously, like the Inferno, where the whole map sets on fire. I was sort of hoping when the Murder Circus was announced, we were going to get something along those lines, where I don't know, it doesn't feel as like large or grandiose to me. Like the circus itself feels really small. And as much as I love the Ursa, is that the boss, the bear?
Ursa Mortis, yeah.
As much as I love the design and the detail and the animations, she's sort of just and I get it. She's supposed to be like another variant of like a meathead, but I don't know. Nothing blew me away, but I enjoy it. But I was expecting a little bit more of a bit more of a something.
So would you say that they maybe just overhyped it for you with the trailers and stuff?
That's a good way to put it. Overhyped a little bit for me, yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Even if the circus, even if the circus compound was just bigger, it just feels so small to me. Like, it doesn't feel like, I don't know, it doesn't feel epic and grand. It just feels really tiny. I love the design of it, but yeah, just a little overhyped.
That's fair. But how do you feel, Bob?
So, I think the only other event I've ever played was Desolation's Wake, but like I had no clue what was going on. That was my first couple hours. I just saw these spiny things everywhere, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." As far as this event goes, I definitely agree that the circus is too small for the impact it's had, but I still just really enjoy all the stuff that's going on. I love the clowny zombies, Ursa Mortis is a bit annoying sometimes, but like I don't know. I like how it's something at least a little new, and like some of the traits are a bit. I'm sure we'll discuss that later, but I'm not overly fond of some of them. And but overall, I think it's been an enjoyable experience.
Okay, that's fair. I myself, I do love the event. I do. I don't blame you for feeling like it was overhyped. In retrospect, the circus tent itself, while being a very cool addition that they are now doing that, where there's actual map changes with the circus being there, for example, that is cool, but they didn't, it is small, and there isn't really a lot of reason to go there. So there was in the first couple weeks, just because it was fun. Everybody was just rushing there and fucking beating the shit out of each other. But now that there's no reason to really go to the circus unless you want the shredder for all of your pledge marks, I feel like there isn't really much of a point of it being there. So, especially with how long this event is.
Yeah. Far too long.
I still get lobbies where people are going for the circus. Like me, myself, I'm not going for it too often because I usually play solo. And for me, actually, Ursa Mortis, I've heard she's really easy to kill, but I have a hard time with her. Like, I tried to kill her, she's just chasing. I actually died to her once. I was doing actually pretty well in the round itself. Decided, fuck it, I'll visit the circus. Ursa Mortis was there, she killed my hunter, and I felt like an idiot.
Yeah, it's all because you're solo. It's all because you're solo, is what I'll say.
I do really enjoy the fact that it moves around the map, and it gives you something extra to do apart from the bounty. It also, it makes me think like, oh, the circus is here, so maybe people are coming from that side as well. I don't know. It is an interesting addition.
Yeah, I do, especially the first few weeks. First of all, I love how Ursa just scares the living shit out of you when she starts chasing you outsid the compound, where you're like, she's not going to follow me.
Surprised by that.
Starts crip walking outside of the compound,
Yeah.
But also, I do like you in the first few weeks when everybody was rushing there, and the fact that you've got like the free dog carriages surrounding it, and they're just they're just barking their fucking heads off. You can hear like footsteps. People are stepping on the fawns and bleeding. You've got Ursa screaming. You've got the fucking music playing because they're using poltergeist to mess with you, and it's just like so overwhelming. You got clowns laughing. Like when everyone is there and like shit's going down, then I love it. It's good fun. But now, like you were saying, that the event's been on a long time. It's sort of like a ghost town now, and it's like, well, I don't really need to go there because I'm not going to get the shredder because that's not very good anymore, and I can get the Hunter XP or the health at all these supply wagons instead. But
it's a consequence of this being the longest event ever. There's I truly unironically feel like there's no reason to be playing the event anymore if you're done with your battle pass or whatever you're done with. If you don't have any of your own goals and you're not just playing Hunt to play it, if you're somebody that comes for the events, I probably don't think there's much of a reason to be playing anymore for a while.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Agreed.
And that's me. Because I play so casually or I play for content or whatever, I usually only come back when there's a new event. So once I've burnt myself out pretty quick, that's a wrap. I'm out.
I do think that's actually fine though, because a lot of people play different kind of games. Like Hunt is not my main game at the moment. I do really like it, but so for somebody like me or other people who play other games, it is good that you can finish the event in not too much time, and then you also have time to play your other games or do other things.
That's true.
I think Kelpy said before, it is respectful of your time, so I do like that.
Yeah, it's one thing I've always appreciated it. I've tried a lot of different extraction shooters, and it respects your time, and I like how you have like the what's it called? Is it called Bloodline? The free
XP. Yep.
The free gift you get. You can complete each day, like the daily things and stuff like that.
That's the Dark Tribute is the thing.
Dark Tribute, sorry, yes.
The XP you get every day, then you get like 3 little rewards for playing. That's Dark Tribute.
Right, yes, yeah. I like how it has that aspect, and it just respects your time. It's not like I don't want to start throwing shade at Tarkov because I don't know much about it. I didn't try it for a crazy amount of time, but I just remember that game was like Just brutal and did not respect your time at
Oh,
all.
you put 10 hours in?
Um,
Well, fuck it. Start again. See ya.
Yeah. And again, I know I probably shouldn't compare the two. They're very different games, like mechanically and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's Hunt has always been fun for me, and that's the most important thing. Most of the time, we can talk about those traits now if you want.
Ooh.
Bob, you mentioned the traits earlier, right?
Sure. So, my playstyle is basically just grab the Winnie every time and just lever. So for me, the crack shot is really, really nice for all that hip firing. It did kind of ruin my playstyle for a little bit because now that crack shot makes levering fairly accurate, levering costs 7 trait points, which makes it almost impossible for me to go solo and still bring necromancer and levering. So that's been a bit of a challenge, but
And then you've still got to get the 2 points to get crack shot, right? That's the second one in the Blademancer troop, I believe.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I've had many unlucky encounters with somebody who happens to be running a bow and the Blademancer, and then also many of them have berserkers. So I just get one tapped, and it's really frustrating to just get hit once. And you look around, it was a bow, so there's no indication, and then they just pull out the arrow, and you're dead.
Yeah, I've rarely seen the Hunt community so on the same page when it comes to Blademancer. Like everybody's like, yeah, it's way too much. I've not seen anybody like, yeah, no, keep it in, like the pull-out damage.
We had a whole discussion about that for so long in the last cast. Yeah,
that is true.
No, not that we can't talk about it. But no, it's just there's so many ways they could go about changing it. But the fact of the matter is, we still got this event for like a month and a half. So if they're gonna make some changes, it's a good idea now. Before events were so short. The events were so short that it was like, all right, this is an issue. All right, cool. I just won't play Hunt for a couple weeks, and then I won't have to deal with it. But now, this is a month and a half. they should do something. Yeah. So events. This is the longest event they've ever done, by far.
Yeah, I was in game today. I think I saw that it ends in 21 days.
Yep. This is still the longest event ever. Because let's see, when was day 1 of the event? Ah, fuck. Man, I should have had more info ready to go.
Oh, God, I don't know. It was like 35 days ago, wasn't it?
So it would be like the total event time was, what, a month and a half? The circus starts now, December
12th, maybe?
Yes.
I have the Steam page open right now.
So December 12th to February 10th is when the event ends, February 10th. So that's unironically 2 months. Like that's 2 days off of 2 months. For like events lasted weeks before. Weeks. This is 2 months of the circus.
I guess
they spend a lot of money on Post Malone and wanted to get
their money's worth, right?
Yeah.
And I guess it was I'm and again, let me know if I'm wrong, but I believe they specifically said this is going to be a longer one so they can focus on like bug fixing and UI cleaning up and stuff. So hopefully we'll see a nice big patch in the next few weeks. Because I don't know, maybe we can move on to like what you guys have been, if anything, standing out to you in terms of if you've had any like technical difficulties or like struggles yourself, if there's anything you wish they could address or change or fix. Like for me, it's just performance issues, which is I think pretty common, where one match I'm absolutely fine and the next I'm losing 30 FPS, and it's really strange and frustrating for me personally because it doesn't happen in any other game. So that's like a priority for me. I hope they get some performance patches in. I don't know what you guys think, if you have any experiences with performance or anything just in the game like that you would like them to focus on as new players.
Really, you can go.
As far as performance issues go, I have not had too many. Like when I just started playing, I remember being thrown out of a lobby sometimes, And my buddy that I usually play with, he to this day still cannot play the game, but that's supposedly because of a Windows update. And for myself, as much as I've been playing, I have not really noticed any particular issues anymore.
Good.
I'm just loading in. It's performing good for me.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, I don't have any performance issues really. I just have like a ton of server, and maybe it's partially on my side because my internet isn't the best, but like server issues have been really annoying. And like it's only about in like 1 in 5 games that I have issues, but when I have when it starts to flare up, it really just slows the game to a halt.
What's that, like the packet loss, getting disconnects?
Yeah. And then they don't even tell you what those icons mean. I had to Google it. And it's just like,
yeah, the little squares are packet loss.
yeah.
Yeah,
It seems like mostly when I hear server complaints, it's American servers, like the European ones seem
Oh yeah.
pretty fine most of the
That's
time.
so crazy to hear you say that, because for the last 6 years of Hunt, it has been the European servers begging for upgrades.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it might be different now, but genuinely, I could not stop hearing my European fellows over across the pond begging for better servers.
I guess they listened.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe listened a little too hard, and they gave them our servers or something. I don't know, but we'll share it, guys. We'll share it. Come on.
Sharing is caring.
That's true, unfortunately.
Fuck. Yeah, I don't have any. Actually, I really haven't had any performance issues since that last big bug fix update with the optimization and stuff like that. The one that David Fifield had commented about. That update really fixed the stuff for me. I haven't. Anytime I load into Hunt and just play a couple games, I don't really have any major issues. Some FPS drops here and there occasionally. I'm not going to act like that doesn't happen. It does. But nothing game-breaking. So I'm thankful for that. I don't have invisible weapons, invisible choke bombs, fucking textures not loading in. It's not as bad at all, anywhere near as bad as it was before.
I was watching that live stream of yours. It was rough. You were not having a fun time.
Oh my god, it was so bad. I'm gonna have to throw a couple clips in the screen here for any of our visual watchers, but it was bad.
Can I ask, like TedleBob and Stony, as you're like much newer, can I ask, is there anything, and this can be something you've either seen online or maybe you have no idea if this is a big sentiment in the community or if there's been tons of threads about it, but is there anything in the game that has really stood out to you personally that seems like wrong in terms of like a game mechanic, a weapon, like anything like that? Like, is there anything that's been really that comes to mind and you think, oh, I don't know, that doesn't fit in Hunt? Just generally curious from like brand new players' perspective. Is there anything you've come up against, anything you've used, anything you've seen that just doesn't fit in Hunt and it doesn't feel right with you? I hope that makes sense.
I think that's hard to nail down for me because I've definitely had experiences where I feel like that's bullshit. That shouldn't happen. But like, I don't know. I feel like to some extent that's just part of me being bitter about getting killed in a video game. So
Sure.
I don't think I have really enough experience to say for certain what doesn't fit.
Yeah, I can honestly agree with what Bob is saying. I find it really hard to pinpoint anything in particular because, yeah, I don't want to start shitting on the game when I've only had 40 hours. Like, most of it is probably just a learning curve.
I have so much respect for those for that point of view you both just gave, because a lot of people are so quick to draw lines around everything that they see, what happens. Like, oh, that guy killed me with a Maynard? Nerf this fucking gun! I hate the Maynard!
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, if you're just new to the game, you cannot start asking for nerfs or buffs because you don't know what you're talking about.
Oh
Yeah,
my, I hate
100%.
people that do that, man. It's so annoying. This gun is crazy. We have to nerf it. Dies to it once. One time.
Did you see the damage on that spark? Jesus Christ.
Oh my dude, the shotgun's kill in melee range? What the hell?
No.
That's awesome. I'm happy we have people like you folks in our community here. That makes me really happy. We have some how do I want to say this? Open-minded people who are willing to like reflect within and say, all right, I'm new, maybe I'm fucking up, and there's a way I can get around this. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
Because that's how I try to look at it.
I definitely embrace the suck.
Amen.
Cool. I was also thinking as well in terms of like more specifically, for example, if you know, what got me into Hunt was like the long drawn out, like single shot guns, like those really cool, like memorable firefights that you have, which I think you can still have in Hunt, absolutely, of course. But I was wondering if you guys had any moments where, you know, you were having a really cool, tense shootout, and then you go around a corner and a guy uses fanning on you for the first time, and you're like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
or a guy with an explosive crossbow just shoots you from across the fucking lake and just blows you up. I was wondering if like those moments, like as newer players, frustrate you, or if it's more of a like, oh, that's cool, or if it's like something that you straight away feel could be a red flag. Genuinely just curious if that's ever come to your minds.
I've actually have a story of a very frustrating moment, but it was my own skill issue. It had absolutely nothing to do with the game, but there is this achievement to get a hunter to max level, so I was kind of trying to get that.
Oh, yeah.
And I had a good evening. I had to stop. My hunter was at 45. Next couple of days, I was scared to use him because I was like, if you die, it's gone. So I'm saving this guy until I feel good. I feel good one evening, take him into the bayou. With a random teammate at this moment, I actually wiped 2 duos in a chaotic fight. He kept going down. I revived him multiple times. We got the bounty. Long story short, and this is a problem. Like, it's not a problem of the game, but a problem I think new players in particular. If you kill a couple guys and then it gets really quiet, you start to feel really fucking safe. So you're walking towards the extraction zone, thinking, okay, we're good. Probably we're just gonna extract now. I still had a couple of seconds of the dark side view that you can see the enemies, so I was using it. Eventually it was used up. We reached the extraction point, and some rat sat there for I don't know how long, waiting for us to come to extract. He sniped my teammate. I panicked, sniped me too. That was that.
Oh.
So I was gone. At that moment I was kind of frustrated, but I pretty soon after just realized, I should have been more careful. I was just getting way too comfortable. So it's not really a problem of the game. Yeah, it's indeed just part of the learning curve.
And what's crazy is, or anytime, for any of you who are newer in the audience, remember those rat moments where there's a guy just camping an extract. Remember, that guy wasted 25 minutes of his life just sitting there staring at a steamboat sitting in the fucking water. That guy had a way worse experience than you did dying to him, so you can hold that over his head.
He was even wearing the reptilian outfit.
I'm telling you, that guy dedicated 25 minutes of his life he's not going to get back to sitting there and staring at the extraction. You did better than him, okay? It's okay.
I was playing in the Hunter's Lodge Discord server yesterday in one of the general channels, and I was live streaming it to a few people. And I was playing solo, and I got downed, and we timed it. They downed me, this duo, and they sat on my body for 32 minutes.
Oh my God.
32 minutes, and the second I got up, I got killed. And they sat because I was and if you're wondering why they didn't burn me, I was in the water. But I had multiple witnesses, and we just couldn't believe our eyes.
That is awesome. They were pulling up Bloons Tower Defense 6 on their second monitor, just sitting there waiting for you to get up. Like, I got 30 minutes. It's fine.
Yeah,
I honestly respect it. To be
same. It was, and this is like we could just hear like the boss being banished in the distance. Like, I'm pretty sure the 5-minute timer came up as well, because the bounty had left and they were still watching me. It's dedication.
That. Oh, I fucking love that.
I mean, like, I've definitely sat down and warmed my hands by the burning fire of another hunter while I wait for them to die, but, like, 30 minutes? Man, just leave. You'll have a more fun time trying to go
But
fight
bro, what if the
living
moment they
people.
turn around, this guy gets up and kills them, and then they have to go to the subreddit and
Wow.
complain about reviving from solos
Yeah.
again? It's a whole thing. They could just sit there and spend 30 minutes watching the body. It's a lot easier.
But hey, like, you know,
I guess you're right.
that's the lovely thing about Hunt is there's so many different play styles and you can play it how you want. People complain
True.
about people sitting in bushes and you know you're getting sniped from like bush campers or whatnot, but you know it's part of the game. A lot of it pushes players to do that, and if it makes them happy, you know that's just how it is. And maybe this could be a good segue into how you guys experience playing solo versus how your experiences are with randoms.
Yeah, that's great. I want to hear you two talk about this because I don't see a lot of new players going right to solo play. They're like begging to have teammates just because it feels more comfortable. So I want to hear how you guys feel about this.
I will be honest, I use randoms as a crutch sometimes because playing solo is fucking scary as a new player.
Absolutely.
But I do feel like when I get comfortable, when I get into the vibe of playing solo, I feel like I'm getting more out of it. Like especially the first couple of games, I just went with randoms. Obviously, like I didn't immediately go into solo because I had no idea what to do. Yeah, the tutorial does a fine job explaining the basics, but it doesn't really tell you how to move through the map or how to deal with other hunters. So I saw the level. They have like 12 prestige, level 78. I don't know, and I'm here with my level 10. So I'm just following them around like they're baggage. Basically, they have to drag me around, and I'm just trying not to be too much of an anchor, or what do you call it? Too much of a downside of my teammate. But eventually, when I started to get the feeling, okay, I think I understand what I'm supposed to do, I just decided if I go in solo, I have to rely on myself, build my own skill level to actually get something done. And also, I want to touch on what Kelpy said before. You said there are a lot of different playstyles in this game. I find it really interesting that, like, what is winning in Hunt? I think you could see getting the bounty and extracting with the bounty is winning. Some people think killing everybody is winning, but honestly, if you're new, even not dying and extracting is winning. Like, if I don't get to get the bounty every time, but I do kill a couple people and I get to extract, I see that as a win. I'm happy.
Killing one person in a duel is winning when you're new. It feels so good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It still is for me, honestly. Like no other game, still to this day, after 600 hours, it's still like I still get such a nice like euphoria when I get a kill. Like it's no other game. Like if you're in a really prolonged gunfight and whatnot, it's just such a nice like satisfaction.
Yeah,
that
you feel like
is so rare in games. Yeah.
Yeah. As for me, as I mentioned before, I kind of my tutorial was Soul Survivor, so I was already used to going solo. But the step up was a bit challenging. It definitely it taught me to kind of determine my own pace and figure out when to attack, when to hold back, or when to just cut my losses and extract. And of course, also I didn't have a mic for like the majority of my gameplay, so I just felt like when I was going into a duo or a trio, I was just kind of being the follower. I was only there to like maybe get a assist to kill in, but that just wasn't as rewarding as going it solo, figuring out what I got to do, and just trying to survive.
And what about you, Kelpy? Do you?
I'm still baffled that you guys are playing solo this early in your hunt careers. That's fucking crazy. I was terrified. I was terrified when I first started, dude. I was quaking in my boots approaching Butcher's lair, hearing him stomping around. God forbid it was the spider, hearing the chittering on the walls. I want to puke. Scary.
Yeah, honestly, I avoid going for the boss when I'm going in solo. Like, if I have a random teammate and he wants to go for the boss, I'll go with him. But if I'm solo and I find the boss earlier than everybody else, you can bet your ass I'm sitting near the boss area waiting for you to kill the boss so I can flank you. And oftentimes that leads to them starting to banish and me looking at the percentage of banishing and that getting closer to 100 and then me kind of thinking, okay, it's really getting time to push and I cannot make any noise. Yeah, it's just it's a strategic game. But I do really enjoy it to try to break apart their defense by myself.
Yeah, nothing gets the heart pumping. Like for me personally, is like as a solo fighting a boss, like that is so tense. I mean, like I know there are like ways to kill them easily, but if just for example, say you don't have any like you don't have a sticky grenade on you, whatnot, and you have to pick up a melee weapon, and like that fight you're having with the boss where it's just so noisy, you have no idea if there are hunters about to push into the compound, and it's just like your heart's beating, your palms are sweaty. Like for me, that's like
absolutely
perfect hunt. Like that's
weak, mom, spaghetti, all that.
Yeah, that's like for me, like why I play hunt. It's like to get the heart pumping. I love it. I love those moments, and that's why I play solo. I actually do solo versus trios, because which is, and bear with me, I find it easier than solo versus duos.
I'm with you. Actually, you're onto something there. I'm with you there. It's duos is so much more try hard than trios. Trios, you actually get people that are casually trying to just play the game and have a good time, so they're not going to be literally dripping with sweat the moment they sniff your direction. Duos is insane. Actually, I feel like duos is so much harder than trios.
Well, you can
actually main duos.
I've been shooting myself in the foot. Damn it!
I'm telling you. And plus, a big thing about the trios aspect is in duos, people are expecting there to be much more solos, right? In trios, nobody's expecting it. So if you're in the trees and you kill one guy, they're looking for 3 people immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not looking for one guy. So that gives you an advantage of the unknown.
Yeah, it's perfect. That's literally, you've summed it up perfectly. And not only that is, like, it sounds silly, but like if you think when you're playing trios of randoms, you're never like, I mean, unless you're all like friends or whatnot, most of the time you're going to be split up. So you can easily pick one off at the back. And then it is just 1v2. And a lot of the time as well, you don't have to worry about other solos, which you do in duos. You always bump into a solo with like Lightfoot who you can't hear. You don't really bump into many solos when you do solo versus trio. So it's nice knowing that, if you do miraculously kill 3 guys, that a solo is not going to be sneaking up behind you. And it's way easier, obviously, to hear 3 guys running than 2.
This is a trick of the trade. A lot of people, they go, okay, I need to fight the least amount of guys possible. If I'm solo, I'm going to go right into duos. That's what everybody thinks. Try trios for a couple days. See how that treats you. If you're playing solo, trust me, you'll have a better time.
Absolutely. And you get
definitely need to try that.
Can't recommend it enough. And I'm not, don't get me wrong. It's still a 1v3. It can be harder in different aspects.
Yeah.
But it depends on how you choose to go about it. Pick your fights,
Yeah,
take your time. You have so much time in Hunt. Hunt is a game that affords you infinite time until there is a timer on the screen from the extract. That is it. You have all that time to decide how you want to approach a situation, leave, get a different angle, say, fuck this, I'm going, I can't win, whatever. You can play the game how you want as long as you come up with a game plan.
I think when they were designing Hunt, or maybe that came later, they did consider that some people might be going in solo with the tools that they give us. For example, I really enjoy using the blank fire decoys when I'm going solo.
Yeah,
I like to bait
my
enemies.
Represent.
Yeah, I like to bait my enemies into thinking I am not a solo, because as soon as they, at least if they're somewhat coordinated or have some experience, as soon as they figure out I'm solo, they're just gonna rush me and I'm dead.
Yeah,
That is that. But as soon as I can bamboozle them into thinking I am not alone, then I have a great advantage. I can reposition all the time and they're just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. Together with the interesting perk in this event, like, I don't think it's really useful, but it is fun to use the poltergeist in combination with the blank fire
I love it, dude.
decoys. Yeah, that's just a great combination.
It's so good. Oh, it's my favorite troop. It's so much fun.
I hope they bring more traits like that, like more just just fun traits. Maybe not the most useful, but they're just like good fun and a little bit wacky. I like it.
Definitely.
I'd love to talk about traits, actually. I'll start with you, Bob. What's your favorite trait, man? What's your go-to? What is your, I'm successfully off of an extraction. I'm going right for this one. What's that for you?
I really love Physician, of course, and also Levering. But besides just, like, kind of general use traits, I really like Lightfoot as a solo, because a lot of the time when I'm sneaking up on teams who are vanishing or just making a ruckus, I really need the element of surprise to down a hunter, maybe two, before they realize and start converging on me.
How about you, Stone?
Usually the ones I go for first is either one of Self-Skin. I'm not sure how to pronounce this one. Is anyways, the Poison Recovery.
Mithridatus?
Yeah, that. Bloodless and Bulwark, because, forget Bulwark. Bloodless. Those three effects, especially as a solo, can screw you so hard, so I really try to do everything as soon as possible to prevent any of that. But then I also like, obviously, Lightfoot, Surefoot. I like Necromancer, Physician. Debating, still kind of figuring out if Vigilant and Poacher are worth it, because I am bringing them, but I'm not seeing that many traps in my level of skill. Guide Skin is one I go for often, because I like to drop off ledges, and I hate healing from dropping, so I'm just trying to... Then I like to use the special ammo, so Pain Sense I've been experimenting a little bit. I have not gotten any use out of it so far, but I think that's just because I'm still figuring out how to use it. Pitcher is one I take sometimes, because then I can throw my decoys further. That's really the only reason. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me for the normal traits. And then obviously Blade Mancer is such a good quality of life that I usually go for that one above Poltergeist.
I'm a Shadow Crush gang over here.
Really?
I'm gonna miss that big time. Yeah, I love it.
Dude, Fast Fingers, bro. I could not stop taking Fast Fingers, even after they nerfed the price. I love it so much. Oh, dude,
yeah,
I'll give up.
Awesome.
I'll give up my traits on a starting hunter. Like, I get them. I'll clear out their entire trait library they start with just to take Fast Fingers. It's so the single shot weapons with Fast Fingers feel so good.
They really do. I'm scared to see it on the Maynard, but
I'm also scared to see it on the Maynard, especially with Dum Dum on the Maynard.
Yeah, my god. Yeah, that is one of my favorite guns, but I feel so dirty using it with Dum Dum. I really do. I just use it as a shotgun most of the time. It's just close range hip fire.
Yeah, it's a laser.
But yeah, I really like just solo wise. I'm always going to bring Necro, but I always have Serpent. I know a lot of people kind of think it's kind of nothing key, but I find it really helpful. Especially for be surprised the amount of teams that the boss banishes and they don't pick up the clues. They're just waiting upstairs or whatnot for a noise, or they've got someone in their sight, so they're not realizing. And I can just Serpent the bounty and just run. And I do like Bulwark as well, because it's just 2 points, and the amount of times it saved me from being blown up by a big dynamite is huge. And for 2 points, it's worth it for me.
Like many hunt veterans, I also am a sucker. Fast Fingers has taken my heart as of late, but I'm a die-hard Doctor enjoyer. I write for Doctor if I have the points for it immediately on any new hunter. So,
is it the most expensive trait?
Yeah,
it's 9 points.
Yeah, nice.
Well, yeah, I mean, hey, what are you going to do if you like getting in skirmishes? Healing to full and one use of a medkit is disgusting. It's so good.
It's one of those traits where, once you've used it for a few rounds, it's it feels impossible to go back. It's
unless you
barely healing me.
Unless you get on the regeneration shot train, that's also really helpful. And then then you never need Doctor. You just need to pick your fights better, because if you sit behind a rock, you'll be full health in no time.
But this is like what I again love about Hunt is it's so different. Like we all had different traits, and Stony, you were saying how like you've been choosing Blast Sense, but you haven't seen much use out of it. I know there's someone in the community I was speaking to recently who swears on Blast Sense, and he's played for
You mean
hundreds and
Pain
hundreds of
Sense?
hours. It's the one where you can see like gunshots.
Yeah.
Is that?
Oh,
I
no,
can't
no,
remember what
no.
that one's called. I think there's two: Pain Sense and Blast Sense. I might be wrong in that.
I didn't mention Blast
Oh,
Sense,
yeah,
and I
it is.
mentioned Pain Sense. You
Oh,
can
It
see
is
bleeding,
Blast
poisoned,
Sense.
and burning enemies in dark sides.
Righty. Okay, I apologise. I'm talking about Blast Sense, which you can see. I suppose they're pretty similar though, and they're both, I think, considered not the greatest traits in the wider Hunt community. But again, I didn't know anyone who really ran them and got much use out of them. But then, yeah, a guy I was talking to recently was like, "No, every game been using them. I can't." I love that. Such a variety. Can't say that word, but yeah.
So,
Yeah,
go ahead, please.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say with Blast Sense, I have seen that perk, but to me it sounded kind of useless because the sound in Hunt is so good. When I hear a gunshot, I usually have a pretty good idea where it's coming from. I don't feel the need to also see it in dark sight.
Yeah, I
So-
definitely agree with that.
So, as new players, do you feel like we talked about this a little bit? Do you feel like Hunt it has offered you? How do I want to word this? The ability to like decide who you want to be as a hunter. Like it offers you the freedom to make your own loadout. Do you feel like you're forced to do something based on what the community says? Do you feel like you're like shoehorned into a certain loadout, a certain build, or do you feel like you can generally do whatever you want and try and make it work?
So at first, I was kind of just relying on like what the community said was like best for starters. So I would always run like I think it was like the Vetterly and then the Sonoff Spectre. And like over time, as I started to not do well with that, I was like, I don't think this is working for me. And then eventually I kind of moved to what was best for me, which was like the levering Winnie with like now I run mostly Winfield Talon with a officer or silence Nagant. But I think I was definitely able to build kind of my own Hunt playstyle without like what other people were saying was best.
I personally approached it when I started playing. Obviously, I didn't want to spend any of the what's it called, the hunt dollars that you need to buy your loadout. I wanted to save as many as I could. So, and I had no idea what was good. Like it was kind of overwhelming, all the guns and stuff. But I really, I didn't know which one were good, which one were bad. And I decided I just take the free hunters with the randomly generated loadouts and just go into what's the bounty clash mode. Just go in, see how the weapon feels, and then think, okay, do I like this? Do I not like it? And then if I like something, I stuck with it for a longer time. Eventually, I was went into the firing range, picked up every single weapon, just trying to get a feel for all of them, see what was good. Eventually, I landed on the Centennial and the Scottfield right now. As far as developing your own playstyle, I think Hunt gives you a lot of options in what you can do. There are so many perks with, like, some are useful for a lot of playstyles and some are more catered towards certain playstyles. Like you have the 100 hands for bow players or the Iron Eye for rifle enjoyers, and then you have this scope perk. I'm not sure what it's called again, that you stay inside the scope after shooting. So you definitely have multiple playstyles that you can go for. I personally, like I was talking about before, I went for the more bamboozle kind of playstyle. I tried to fool my enemies, try to lure them into thinking that I'm not alone, try to approach them from different angles, stuff like that, and the game definitely allows me to do that. But if I would want to take a shotgun and just go in guns blazing, I think that could work as well if you have a team to do it. I don't really feel like I need to play the meta.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's the word meta. Always, I don't like that word, and I've
Sour
never
taste in your mouth.
Yeah, I've never been. I remember actually when I first started playing, I was using the Officer Carbine Deadeye, and I was really enjoying the gun. And I remember like one of the first times I went onto like the Hunt subreddit, and I like searched at the top. I was like, I wonder what people think of this gun, and it was just all these posts of people complaining about it and it needs buffs and whatever. I remember at first I was like, oh, I'm going to stop using it then. Everyone's saying it's a terrible gun, and I had to stop myself. I was like, no, like you're having fun with it. Don't listen to what's good. You know, everyone loves the Mosin. I just don't vibe with the Mosin personally. So if I want to run in with like a Officer Carbine Deadeye, and you know the fact that everything, you know, everything can kill you if it shoots you in the head. So makes everything viable, in my opinion. And that's what I always loved about it.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things about Hunt, was that so many games try to shoehorn you into a meta. You have to do what everybody else says, and I'm always pushing for everybody to just try everything. And eventually, if you don't have a gun you like now, you will find a gun that clicks, and when it clicks, you will fucking love using that weapon. Hunt offers you an experience like that, like no other. You can find a loadout that really fits you if you just keep trying.
100% agreed.
Yeah, for example, I noticed Bob is a big fan of levering and fanning, right? Me personally, I really don't like that at all, and both of them are completely viable, useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like personally, I don't like fanning because oh crap. If I am shooting, I want to actually be able to hit my shots.
Hey, it sounds like you've never hit a
some
fanning
extent.
headshot from 50 meters away and made somebody uninstall. That's the
Unfortunately, I haven't reached that level yet.
Every time I'm fanning, I just picture myself as like that scene in Django Unchained with like with Django's like going down the hall just shooting all those guys, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna recreate that, and I just become a stormtrooper and miss every shot.
Yeah,
It's
but
like the Pulp Fiction scene with all the bullets around them, just missed everything.
But yeah, I've certainly encountered plenty of people who swear by fanning, so I think there's just something for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that sort of sums up Hunt really well. There is just something for everybody, something for like every play style, and I'm sure there are probably some objectively better weapons and stuff to use in terms of like stats. But at the end of the day,
MMR, really. We are
Yeah.
blessed, all of us, to be at like 3-4 star
Yeah.
or lower MMR. We still get to have fun and do whatever we want for the most part. And if we try hard enough and we are successful enough, we can do good. That is not a blessing they get at 6-star MMR.
I've heard.
Yeah. I don't blame people with 5,000 hours in 6-star for hating the game now. I don't, because they are in a horrible meta where everybody knows exactly how everything works down to a goddamn T, and they all have the same loadouts. Like they described in the last podcast, if you heard a certain gun, you would know who you were playing against because they all use the same guns and you fight the same people a lot. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
No,
I cannot imagine how boring that would be.
Yeah.
I honestly think that's not even a Hunt specific issue.
It's not.
Any competitive game at the highest level, people just figured the game out to such an extent that you cannot do anything else but use the absolute best if you want to stay there and perform. Like, yeah, I definitely appreciate that. I'm just in a lower MMR and I'm not planning to sweat my ass off to get up to the max level.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm curious though. So you guys have, if you're newer, you're still missing out on one of the maps, but off of what the maps you've played, what's been your favorite map to play on generally?
Personally, I just love the Bayou. It's such a cool atmosphere.
You love Stillwater?
I do.
Yeah.
I love atmosphere in games. That's like the main thing I go for. And it's just really cool seeing a setting that I've never seen before. I mean, sure, it can be annoying, but like,
I respect
I don't
that.
know. I feel like that's part of the charm.
I get it.
I
like
honestly don't know
Mammon's
if I
Gulch.
have a.
Sorry, man. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, sure. I don't think I really have one favorite map. Like, to me, Mammoth's Gulch feels kind of scary to push into the big, like that really big mine part. What's it called? You know, when you're.
There's like
It's a
Oro
very
Gordo.
vertical
Or
building.
Gordo Mines, baby.
Yeah, it could be like pushing onto that objective is terrifying. Like you just know that any window there could be somebody watching your ass, and I always try to be really careful when approaching that. Lost in
Yeah, that's
Delta,
fair.
that map feels really good. The Stillwater Bayou, I also like it. I feel like the Stillwater, I'm not sure if I'm correct with this, but it feels smaller than the rest.
It
I
is.
feel like every time I'm on that map, I hear gunfire all around me, and the other maps, sometimes I can go almost the entire match without hearing a single person.
Mm.
But yeah, as far as I like them all. I'm having fun on all of them, to be honest. Not really
Yeah,
one in particular that I enjoy more.
I don't really have much memory at all of DeSalle, so I can't comment on that. But I know if I didn't play Mammon's Gulch exclusively for a month, was it? I think it was, right, when it was just Mammon's Gulch when
Yes.
it released.
Yes.
I think I would love it way more. I think I've just got a little bit like oversaturated with it. But I don't know. I think it's definitely because obviously it's so like the verticality of it and like the variation of like the woodlands, and then you got like the mountain and the mines. It's awesome. So it's probably my favorite one. But I am excited for DeSalle. I know. Am I right in saying that that's not a fan favorite?
Yes.
Yeah.
So DeSalle was very contentious when it first came out. A lot of people were like, "This sucks." But a lot of people have warmed up to it as well over time, especially now that it's been gone for a while. I have a feeling it is going to have a very warm welcome when we finally get DeSalle back. I'm a fan. I like DeSalle. It's mostly just that it was very different. So whereas Mammon's Gulch was different in so many unique and interesting ways that people loved it, it was such an incredible change of pace. The heights, the lows, just the general variance that each compound offered you in Mammon's Gulch compared to every other map was crazy. But DeSalle was a lot more of the same for people, so it just kind of felt like a non-factor. But it's got its own unique charm, and I'll be happy to have it back. Mammon's Gulch is my favorite.
I remember, like, the only thing I remember from DeSalle is it has like a compound that's in like a town square, right?
Yep.
It's like that was cool. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I still remember though with Mammon's Gulch, the day the update came out, and I was actually working from home, and I was like, no, fuck work. I need to play this game. So I put myself on like do not disturb, and I was like, I need to see this. And I still remember like I spawned by is it auto? We were just talking about it. No, it's like the quarry one where you can see that like there's no roof; it goes up into the sky.
Is it like Greystone Quarry or something?
Greystone
Yes,
Pit.
I think so. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and I walked Greystone Pit. Yeah, and I walked in, and you can just see the scale of it, and that's like a really like memorable like gaming moment that's been imprinted in my brain now, because that was such a shock to me because I was not expecting it to be so epic.
Yeah, no, Greystone Pit looks like a Dark
area.
Souls boss location, dude. Greystone Pit's
It really
awesome.
does. That's
when
fantastic.
You're inside
Yeah,
the lair,
does.
it's sick. I love Greystone Pit. That was gonna be my next fucking exploring hunt episode, and then they fucked me by putting a second map in the game. Here we are. I have the script too.
For TedleBob and Stoney, because you guys haven't experienced how do you feel about the idea of like heavy rain and or like a variant where the entire map is on fire and it changes your entire playstyle? How do you feel about that?
I love the idea, honestly. Like, it would just bring another variation to every map. Like, right now, I already feel like every map is really different because the boss layer is always in a different point of interest and stuff. Having, like, for example, now you do have the different times of day, and usually I get daytime, and when I get nighttime, I'm like, yes, it's it's a fun variation. So having rain, fog, anything like that, yes, I'm all for it for sure.
Definitely. I like things that shake up the regular game. So I'd be very interested to see like rain that like drowns out footsteps or like the fire, which makes everything a bit more spicy. I'm
You would have
interested in that.
loved Tide of Shadows, dude.
Yeah.
Bring it back. I'll die on this hill. I will die on this hill. I will be the only guy preaching this. Put every weather effect in the game. Put them all in there. Make it random, but put them all in there. I will die on this hill. Everybody's like,
No, I
I
agree.
hate the heavy rain. The fire ruined my CPU. Fuck your CPU. It's fun. Put everything in the game.
The rain was awesome. That was like my first experience of Hunt, and yeah, that's I vague memories of it, but I remember it being amazing. And with the new engine, I can imagine it being so immersive.
Yeah. Much
Definitely.
like most things in Hunt, people hated it. You know, of course, they hate everything. But I loved the heavy rain. The fact that you could be sprinting outside and nobody could hear you added such fun variables to the gameplay. Because it's like, oh, it's 30 seconds of heavy rain. Break! Like, sprint to the next building. They don't know you're there. Oh, the heavy rain calms down. They don't know where you are. You've got a great angle on them. Like, that aspect of it was great. Heavy rain was awesome.
So it's not the entire match when it goes on. It's really just a short period.
No.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's
No, it
even
is.
cooler.
No, there's short. So there's long bursts of constant, very light rain, and then there's short bursts of heavy rain. Where
Is it
really
random,
fun.
or you see when it's going to
It's
happen?
random.
Okay, oh, that's really cool.
Yep. I loved it. It was awesome. And plus, the sound design in Hunt is the best in any game ever. So, like, if you're inside of a building with a metal tin roof, you can hear the rain on the tin roof. It was so
Yeah,
good.
I still remember talking about sound design again. Another gaming memory of mine is like the first time I had the headphones on, I walked it through like the hanging chains, and the audio of it was just like just the way it just such a simple thing, but just walking into like chains and the noise they made with like the cryspatial audio just blew my mind. And yeah, like going to other games for audio is just it's so difficult for me now.
It's just an MP3 playing in your ear from any direction. But in Hunt, you feel like you actually have dynamic audio. You can hear the sound waves of a gunshot like reverberating off the mountain behind you. It's fucking crazy.
I saw a lot of, again, I don't know if this is just a certain crowd being negative for the sake of it, or if this is a legitimate concern or a thing at the moment, but I do see a big sentiment at the moment that the sound is getting worse and worse, but I personally haven't noticed it, but I don't know if it's something I'm ignorant to, or I'm not too sure. But yeah, for me, it's always has been the best, and I can't see any other game topping it anytime soon, personally.
It's interesting that you mentioned those chains. Like, that is also one of the things that made me smile in the beginning. Indeed, the sound that makes, or when you step through glass, or like Horst mentioned before, walking on metal roofs, all of that is so good. And it's really, I cannot think of, I have played a lot of different kinds of shooters, but I cannot think of anything like it. Like, I have never in another shooter PvP, I have thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't break this window because they will know where I am. Like, you just shoot the window and run through. No one cares. But in Hunt, you really think about every little noise you make. It's really amazing.
Yep.
And yeah, absolutely. But I really like weaponizing that sound. When I first discovered that you can pinpoint roughly where somebody is because of the ruckus they're making and go over there and like shoot them or like interfere with the fight they're having, that was like one of the biggest moments in Hunt for me.
It's eye-opening.
It unlocked so many opportunities.
I honestly think the tutorial doesn't do a good enough job at making you aware of how important all of these sounds are.
All right, fuck it. Let's talk about the tutorial. That's a great point. So you're newer. You folks, especially you two on the right of my desk here, are newer, so you definitely have done the tutorial reasonably recent compared to me. God. So how was the tutorial for you? Do you feel like it prepared you for Hunt at all?
I actually replayed the tutorial yesterday for the sake of the podcast, because I didn't remember everything exactly, and I made a couple of notes, like how they explain the clues and how you like banish the bounty and stuff. It's fine for a basic explanation, and don't really think that needs any tweaking. Also, if you go into the advanced tutorial and you encounter a couple more... wait, let me back up a little bit. The basic tutorial, you just encounter grunts, so you get none of the special enemy types. But if you go into the advanced part, every special enemy type you encounter, you get a little text bar in the right upper corner that explains to you what this enemy is and like what they do, what they're weak against. So
Does
that
it
I
teach
think
you
is
about emulators?
yes. If you encounter emulators, it tells you that they're weak to blunt damage, and they explode when penetrated, I believe. I don't quote me on this. I don't know if that's the exact description, but it's something like that. It gives you an explanation, and also with the hives, it tells you that it poisons you and stuff like that. And also the water devils I came across, it had a little text bar for that. So yeah, it's interesting that that's a good thing about the tutorial. However, the PvP is not at all explained. Like you do see some dummies, and they what's that part where you revive the guy and you have to close the door to prevent him from being shot or something like that. And they explain the dark side, but they do not really explain too much about the PvP. I don't know what they could do to explain this better. Yeah,
You
and
should have
like I said,
a dummy run at you with a explosive crossbow and a shredder.
or with
Maynard
a railroad
dum-dums.
hammer, like you said before.
Yeah.
Ah!
Yeah, moving targets or indeed
Moving
AI
targets,
hunters
please.
would be really good. That's a good idea. And yeah, like I said, the importance of sound traps, they should definitely be emphasized more, because I remember the beginning, it tells you like walking through water is slower and makes noise, but sometimes it's the only way to move forward. And you move through this water, there are ducks inside the water. I remember the first time when I played the tutorial, I was like, oh, okay, ducks, whatever, you know. It gives you no idea that could be, or that could give your position away to other hunters.
It doesn't tell you that? That's crazy. Wow.
No.
I think they like
it
mention
suggests it, but go ahead.
they kind of like mention that you probably should be quiet, but they don't properly hammer in just how important concealing your location is.
I feel like ducks are like the loudest things in the game.
They're so annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, well, birds in general will reveal your location a compound away. So, based on the direction that they're flying, you just go, oh, they're flying east? Perfect. They're west. All right. But so, that's actually... All you've done a really good job at convincing me that the advanced tutorial should be mandatory.
Yeah. Does it teach you... Because this is something I didn't know for a long time about, like, when you kill a hunter, that like their legs are facing the direction they got shot from. Does it teach you
No,
that?
I actually learned that from a Psycho Ghost YouTube video. But
Wow, because that's
other than that, I
huge.
would have
That's
no
a
idea.
Massive
I
thing.
learned
That
that
is
from
like,
a friend myself. I did not learn that from Hunt's tutorial.
yeah, that's crazy. That's
in
crazy.
game, you would never notice it, because most of the time when your teammate gets killed and you don't have communication with them, you won't know that the feet are facing him, and you probably didn't see him getting shot. So
it's a definition of a game-changing aspect, in my opinion, that they've missed out. Like the other stuff, is a bit more not forgivable, but that is crazy to me that's not explained.
What's your perspective on the tutorial, Bob?
I played that all the way back in like April of 2024 when I first started playing this game before I took a break. But I feel like it does an all right job with giving you some of the kind of tools you'll be working with. But other than that, you're just kind of you have to figure out how to use them on your own.
Yep.
Or I think the best tutorial possible is just a buddy who's like a higher rank than like. Look, okay, so if you have a buddy who like introduced you to the game, that's probably the best tutorial you can possibly get. But otherwise, you're just kind of on your own. You got to figure it out.
Yeah, they don't even teach you about wall banging in the tutorial either, which is huge for Hunt. You can shoot through pretty much almost anything, and they do not talk about it in the tutorial.
Yeah, they make it sound like when you close the door to revive the guy that you're completely safe, but that's not the case when they have FMG.
I mean,
do they mention
even
ammo
just
types?
not dum-dum, they can just shoot right through it.
Do they mention ammo types at all?
Don't believe so.
Um,
I do not believe so.
no, they don't. Like they do emphasize that you have to be careful with your ammo. Like I was, you have this one point where the guy that voiced the Witcher, I don't know his name in this game. He tells you, okay, here you have an area to practice your aim. So you have some grunts standing in a barn that you can just shoot. And I was just shooting a bunch of them, like I guess more than the tutorial wanted me to. And he was saying, "Hi, you're not somebody to conserve ammo, are you?" So yeah, when you get into the real thing, you're gonna have to be more careful, something like that. So yeah, they do tell you that you have to be conservative of your ammo, but I think special ammo types are not talked about at all, or you cannot even acquire them in the tutorial area.
So a new player could jump into their game, get shot by a dum-dum, be like, why the fuck am I bleeding?
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah, why the fuck am I suddenly on fire?
I feel like
That
the
definitely happened to
tutorial
me.
should really just be a trial by errors. They should purposely force you to fuck up a bunch of stuff, like force you to walk through a noise trap, force you to like get bled on something, force you like all this stuff just to constantly hammer it in that the world is dangerous in Hunt.
And chuck you in
Yeah,
a
they-
bot lobby.
Mhm.
Yeah, something like that. Indeed, they could have different parts of the tutorial, like the basic tutorial how it is now. I think that could stay the way it is. It's fine, but then add another segment where it's like a practice match, like you said, with a bot lobby, and let new players fuck around in there and give them every tool available. And maybe every time you pick up something new, it would give you a prompt like, "This is what this is. This is what this is." Oh yeah, and I almost forgot, but I made a note before. Something else the tutorial completely leaves out: traits.
Oh my god.
Oh,
yeah. Wow.
That is a drastic. They could just have a trait spur.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't think of that.
Like there are meatheads you can kill. I don't even know if in the tutorial they have any chance of dropping a trait and what would happen if you picked it up. But yeah, as far as I've played it, there is absolutely no mention of it.
What they should do is have you pick up, say, for example, something that'll be affected by fast fingers. They should have you pick it up and shoot it, then pick up the trait spur after and see the difference so that you can notice visually
Yeah.
there is a huge difference in gameplay based on your traits. Or they could have you heal without doctor and then have you heal with doctor. Like stuff
Or
like
like
that
walk
would be
into a
very
bear
good.
trap
Yep.
without bloodless. And then,
Yep.
yeah, I
Mhm.
agree. That'd be fantastic. Yeah, that's good.
Just cover like your basic generic traits that anybody that do very different things. Just cover a few of them. That'd be really nice.
Yeah. Like even like Necro, you were saying there's one point where you're like, you say at one point like a teammate goes down, you got to revive them. Be cool if the
Yes.
guy who's leading you is like, you can either go to him to revive, or you can get that trait spur on the side there called Necromancer and revive him from a distance safely or something like that. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, all really good ideas. Like I've read this one comment of this guy who I think it was on one of your previous podcasts where you also talked about the tutorial for a bit. He said something like that the tutorial shouldn't over explain the game because it's catering to dumber people, this and that, something like that. But honestly, try to realize like, yeah, sure, if you're a person of normal intelligence, you can play this game and it's maybe cool to figure it out yourself. Not everybody likes this. And also, yeah, maybe you have people who, I don't know, have like a mental handicap or something and want to play this game. Like they definitely need some more hand holding. I think you should make the game as accessible as possible for everybody. So yeah, if you want to skip the tutorial and feel smart about yourself for figuring it out by yourself, just skip it. But they definitely should, yeah, try their best to make it accessible to everybody and explain as much as they can.
PS4 back in the day, which I know is an entirely different beast. But I gave up like either in the middle of the tutorial, the old tutorial, or like at the end, because even then I was like, this is too much for me. So yeah, I agree. Make it a bit more accessible, explain more, especially the traits. That's such a big thing, for sure.
Yeah, because the trades indeed it takes a while before you even unlock all the traits, and you have no idea what to buy. Like, yeah, you can read everything and think about it, but yeah.
Yeah, it disappoints me to see kind of that gatekeeping attitude because, like, getting new players is the most important thing to like keeping this game alive, and I don't want less new people to be joining in. That's silly.
Mm.
Sure.
So, like in your like friend circles, are they like you guys saying, I think you both mentioned you don't have many friends that play this, or don't have any friends that play it. Is it something they've like just have no interest in because they're like afraid it's going to be too hard, or
Have you tried to introduce other people that you play, that you know, like friends to the game? Have they just not been interested? Have you just not had any friends to introduce to the game? What's the situation with that for you guys?
So I have my cousin, and he's also my friend, I would hope, who was like kind of the first person that I talked to about this game. But other than him, nobody else really like is into like these kind of slower paced, more hardcore, if you can call it that, shooter type games.
Mm.
I have
What-
two guys that I mainly play with. One of them is on PC, one of them is still on Xbox. So yeah, the guy on Xbox, we already cannot play with him because the crossplay in Hunt is kind of strange.
there's crossplay?
Like, yeah,
What?
I've been reading up on it. Wait, I'll just finish quickly and then I'll touch on the crossplay topic. And the other buddy, like I said before, he because of some Windows update, he cannot play the game right now. Like he got a notification early on that the game recognized him as a cheater, but he has no cheats. He never cheats, I swear. And he has been trying to load it up over the course of the past couple. The game works for him. I will be mainly playing with him and not as much solo anymore, I think. And for the rest, I do not really have any other people in my friend group that game a lot. So yeah, nobody to convince. And about the crossplay thing, yeah, I tried to look up if there's crossplay. There apparently in the matchmaking you can have crossplay, but you cannot be in a party with people from other platforms. So if you search for a random match, you could have console players in your lobby as a PC player,
What?
but it is
Interesting.
not possible to invite them to your party. And I read on Reddit that there like people that are friends and play on different platforms, they try to queue up at the exact same time to find a teammate, and then maybe they get in the same team. So it is
It's
possible, but
I,
it is
I
extremely difficult to play with friends from other platforms.
have
So
I been living
weird.
under a rock? I had no idea there was console PC lobbies. Am I like crazy? I
It's
had
not
no idea.
discussed.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wait, so you could be playing up.
this,
You could. So the people I'm fighting against could potentially be playing on their Xbox with a controller.
as far as I read, yeah,
Wow.
but honestly, that does not come from official Crytek source. So
Um,
yeah,
Okay, I had no idea. I have absolutely no idea. But yeah, I was more curious. I didn't know if it was a case where your friends like saw advertisements, read about the game, read about the discourse of the game, saw the overwhelmingly negative reviews on Steam at one point, and maybe didn't see the comments and thought, oh no, I'm not trying that game. I didn't know if anything put them off specifically, or if it was just a case of it's too hard, it's not their jam. But yeah,
no, it's nothing like that.
oh
Like
yeah,
we
that could
usually
be
try
a.
to not be
Sorry.
too influenced by the negative reviews and stuff. Like
Mm,
I feel like the gaming community as a whole, you have a lot of people who are open-minded, but also a lot of people who complain about every single thing. So yeah, I
mm,
just and my friends, they are the same in this respect. We just try for ourselves what we like and don't like, so reviews don't
mm,
matter that much.
mm. Awesome. Hey, that's the way to go.
definitely.
I looked it up. Apparently, there isn't crossplay for PC versus console, but the consoles have crossplay with each other.
Oh,
That right.
right. Okay.
Yeah,
And
and that's fair. It should be like that
Or,
because, frankly, we're gonna have a crazy advantage on them, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's why I was
Yeah.
very
Mhm.
confused. I was like, have I just been doming console players every time
But
I
that
think I'm
being
doing
said,
good?
My life
That
is a lie!
explains
Yeah.
so much.
but that being said, you can add that to the list of things people complain about. I've seen a lot of people begging for crossplay because they have friends that play on console.
Mm.
Yeah,
Horse,
now I'm
you
just
know,
convincing my friend to buy a PC.
Horse on obviously on Steam. This game has
Yeah.
been up and down the past few months, going from negative, mix, overall
Yep.
negative. Prior to this update, did that happen?
All the time.
Was there
Oh
any
my
standout
god.
instances? Really? Mm.
No, so if there was a big change people didn't like, folks from, say, Reddit or certain YouTubers communities, I'm not going to say names, I'm not going to be that guy, they would just review bomb a hunt. That was very common, actually. If there was a DLC that people didn't like, they would review bomb it. So, and I don't mean to say there weren't people coming out here going, oh, I loved the game, but I don't like these, so I'm changing my review to negative. Those were real, genuine reviews that happened. But review bombing was huge, especially before 2.0, after 2.0 came out. Oh my god, when the performance wasn't great, it happens a lot. The account community has always been extremely volatile, and they will voice their opinions no matter whether they're good or bad, very proudly. That we are one of the loudest gaming communities I've ever been a part of in the entirety of the gaming sphere. Hunt players are very passionate. They love this game or they hate this game, for better or for worse. So that has always happened.
Okay, interesting.
The first few years of Hunt being out, though, is very cult following, so there was not review bombing. But the moment we got more players, it got bad.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. I think, how do you guys think Hunt's doing in general? Because everybody keeps saying the game's fucking dying. I want to see the new player perspective.
You guys go first.
What you mean? How the game is doing? How many players are you?
Yeah. Just in general, how do you feel about how Hunt's doing right now? You don't need to look up actual numbers. Just from your perspective, your experiences, the people you've talked to. Do you think Hunt's fine? Do you think Hunt's on a downslope? How do you feel?
Yeah, I think that I definitely noticed that I am one of the newest players. Like, I do not encounter that. It maybe happens one every 10 games that I have somebody in my random squad, if I play with randoms, around my actual player level. Most of them have multiple prestige levels, so yeah, it's. I think Hunt is probably struggling right now to get new people into the game. However, many of these players, they are still at my skill level. Like, they can be a couple of prestige levels or whatever. I still manage to kill them, no problem. So the lobbies are populated enough. I don't find myself waiting very long times for matches. The matches go pretty quick, especially if I go solo. Looking for randoms can sometimes be more difficult. And then you also have some prestige players, they do not want to play with somebody like me who is kind of new to the game. Even if I have a stacked out loadout, like all of my guns bought, all of the consumable slots and tools are filled, even then I still get people, they join my team and then yeah, I just see them waiting for 5 seconds. I just know they're checking out my loadout and my KD and everything. And for the record, I have a 1.3 KD, so it's not even bad. But they just leave, and then I search for another teammate, and I get this same guy sometimes 5 times in a row. Maybe there should be something in place, like, I do not want to play with this person, that they can just check my name.
Avoid teammate.
Yeah, something like that. That could be a good thing for people playing with randoms. But as far as Hunt in general, I don't know about the numbers. From my perspective, it's fine. Like, I'm finding matches pretty quick, playing different people every game. Yeah, that's my take.
Have you experienced much toxicity?
Actually, none at all.
Good.
Nobody has messaged me anything crazy. If some teammates actually use their mic, always very nice. I gotta say, this is one of the nicest communities I've ever come into. So yeah, great job,
I
everybody.
agree.
I'm
Like
so
people
happy to
are
hear that.
really willing to help new players. You can feel it. Like even today, I had a random teammate. He used his mic at one point. Like I was burning, killed an enemy, and he was down, and I was rezzing him before putting out the burn because I felt the other teammate was going to push me, and in my perspective, reviving him had a higher priority than putting out my burn. And he used just game chat to tell me put out the burn, but he was not angry about it or anything. They really just tried to help you, and everybody's really nice so far. So that's great.
Yeah, that's something I've always appreciated about Hunt. Is the community's always been really nice, and I've just got my Steam profile up because I only recently got my first hate message, and it says they commented on my profile. Prestige level 13, and you sit in a bush the entire match. Get a life, you fucking weirdo. But then,
oh, dude.
He must have
awesome.
been killed by a rat really recently.
That is awesome, dude.
I think I happened to be in a bush when I killed him, but above and below are all friendly hunter, good guy. Yeah, these are people I'm just playing with in randoms who are just taking time out of their day after a really nice match to comment on the profile, and I've not had that from any other game. So that's something I've always really appreciated.
So my experience, I'm not going to touch too much on this because I unfortunately have a very biased and a bit of a jaded view on the Hunt community, only because I get a lot of hate. I get a lot of people that don't like me, my videos, they don't like my community, and they are very vocal, and they let me know that. I don't know another person that gets literally every post they put on the subreddit immediately removed by a moderator. So, but I will say, at least in my Discord, there's so many awesome people in there, and we're really always trying to help new players as much as we can. So I know there's good people in the Hunt community. So even though I deal with a lot of the more, I'll say, negative Nancy's, I know there's good people out there. So I love this community at the end of the day.
Nice. What about you, Bob?
Yeah, like I hear about a lot of toxicity in like the Reddit and stuff, but like I never go on there, so I've only really had positive experiences. I think the one not positive experience was this one dude who was like prestige like 40 or something. We queued up, and then I think he got downed, and I was trying to hold my own, and naturally being pretty new to the game, I didn't. He said my aim sucked, but like yeah, he was kind of right. But like in terms of online shooters, that's like that being your worst experience, that's really, really nice.
Yeah, for example, when I used to play Rainbow Six Siege way back,
my
that game is so fucking toxic. Like, I would get the worst messages just for, like, you're a noob just trying ranked, and these people, they send you death threats on your message board, like,
they will
for just not clutching up a 1v3. Or, you have multiple rounds in Siege, like, you fucked up a clutch the last round. Next round you load in, they instantly headshot you, and then you can spend the next 15 minutes watching. In this game,
put a reinforcement on the wrong wall, something like that. They'll just start team killing you.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, I don't want to get into Siege too much, but I've been guilty of shooting people reinforcing the wrong walls. If you're
all right,
it's not to be toxic, but like if you're trying to use game chat, hey, don't reinforce that. For example, I'm trying to do a Mira strat on a really strong position, and this guy that doesn't know what he's doing is reinforcing the wall right next to my Mira. Sometimes I just shoot them with one bullet in the foot to let them know, like, don't reinforce this wall. And sometimes they get it. Sometimes they get angry and they kill me, which is fair enough.
I don't think I've ever been team killed on purpose in Hunt.
In Hunt, I have. Oh my god, I do it all the time.
Like for fun, though, like with your friends, or by randoms for no reasons.
Oh my god, like for memes. Yeah, no. It's like, oh, bro, you're chilling out there. You're just hanging out. You're banishing right now. Oh, sick. Here's the dynamite stick.
Who needs enemies with teammates like that?
Dude, we blow each other up all the time. At the end when we're near the wagon, we all just start shooting each other and hitting each other with hammers. All of it, it's awesome. The fact that I can hit my teammates with a thing that would kill a normal human being, and they take like a 30% of the damage, is so great.
It honestly took me like 5 or 6 matches before I even realized there was friendly fire in this game.
Buddy. When you get hit by a dynamite through a floor by your friend who did not do it intentionally, you'll know.
Does the tutorial tell you that?
No.
Not at all.
No, the tutorial does not tell you anything about friendly fire either.
Oh, wow.
Well, the way I found this out was I was starting to use throwing knives and starting to discover how useful those are. And my teammate was running up to the enemy I was throwing knives at, and he was trying to melee it. So I threw the knife right into him. And then I saw that he needed to heal. I was like, "Oh fuck, sorry." Maybe immediately in game chat, and he was like, "No problem, dude. Ha ha ha." So didn't even get angry.
Or imagine if the man himself, Hunter Showdown in the tutorial, if he just like threw a dynamite stick at you and blew you up. It's like, all right, pick yourself
Honestly,
up.
That should be how it starts, because you start the tutorial in a barn laying down and you need to get up and heal yourself. So why don't they start it 5 seconds earlier and do exactly what you just said?
Yeah, the second you get up, he just domes you in the head. Just like, yeah, get back up. That'd be great.
Welcome to the game,
noob. Back.
Yeah.
Trial by fire.
I'm telling you, trial by fire would make the tutorial so much more educational for hunters. It's all these experiences you have to normally have by just getting shit on in your public games. If you could start off in the tutorial with a lot of these lessons, it would be so much better at onboarding. That's my biggest gripe with Hunt right now. And that's ultimately why I think we can't keep new players, is the onboarding is fucking terrible. Even with the new tutorial, it is still bad.
Yeah,
it's definitely not the easiest. Go ahead.
Yeah, when I was starting, it was pretty awful to just get domed constantly as a white shirt, and there was very little I felt that I could really do about that. Luckily, I stuck through it, eventually started figuring things out, but I feel like a lot of people don't have the patience to do that.
Yeah,
it's definitely not the easiest game to get into as a new player, indeed. But you do indeed need patience, and I'm not sure about making the tutorial really difficult. Like, don't you think that might actually turn off some people?
I'm not saying very difficult. I'm saying that they should make you they should force you to deal with some more negative aspects of the game, instead of the tutorial only giving you a lot of the less awful things about the game. Like, they make you step in a bear trap. They make you heal. You get blown up by fucking John Victor. You get rezzed. Like, these things, it wouldn't take too long. It's not like I'm saying you should get the shit kicked out of you for 5 minutes straight. I'm saying these one little off interactions where you're forced to, say, take damage and heal, or test out this trait. It wouldn't make it difficult. It would be a slightly more time consuming, but I feel like it would be so much more educational that Hunt can be brutal. Whereas the tutorial sets you off like, go on, soldier, you got this. Dead.
Yeah, fair enough.
You got this, right? Oh yeah, by the way, there's other players. You got this, right? Yeah.
I mean, like, I think I mentioned at the beginning, I was watching a guy on, live stream YouTube when it got re-released on console, and he played for 3-4 hours and still had no idea it was a PvP game. He just stayed in the tutorial, advanced tutorial.
Sweet summer child.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Like, this fear of players when you get into the matches in the beginning. I think, I've read this, that the community kind of has a name for noobs, crouch walkers or something like that, because every noob apparently spends their first couple matches just crouch walking everywhere because you don't want to make any sound and you're just scared of encountering other players.
Bambies is another one they'll call them sometimes.
Bambies. What, because they're easy to hunt?
Yep, easy to hunt. They're babies. They barely know how to walk. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of things people will call new players. I like to call them New hunters. I feel like that's fine. That gets the point across. But let's see. What topics have we not covered that we wanted to get into? I need to take a look at our list. We've actually covered pretty much everything generally at some point. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I
maybe
feel like
the only thing we
Huh.
didn't get into too deep is MMR, but all of the other points we got to, yeah.
Well, so tell you what, it's a good point to talk about this because people who have been playing for a long time have the strongest opinions you've ever seen a human being have on this specific topic. How do you as new players feel about MMR? Especially, and I'll preface this, there are a lot of people that want MMR gone. They want the game to be completely random with who you will fight. How do you as a new player feel about all of this?
Bob, you want to go first?
Sure. So I feel like MMR really works for this level of play the best. Like honestly, I think it's a good kind of grouping of like pretty new players and then the occasional like 6-star in the lobbies. Like it's certainly difficult, but I feel like it's a good amount of challenging still. However, when I hear the 6-star players talking about their experience, that just seems miserable. So even though that doesn't affect me personally, I feel like there definitely needs to be changes for those experienced players.
Yeah, I honestly don't think MMR should be removed. I think I understand. Like I said, I watched the previous podcast, and I totally understand what the top players are coming from, or where they are coming from. Like, it sucks to have every match be a sweat fest, and you always feel like you have to run the meta and this and that. But honestly, removing MMR and giving the game just a random matchmaking, that might make it more fun for the top players, but it's gonna make it miserable for the noobs. Like,
Definitely.
it already feels pretty bad getting killed the first couple times. Like, you have to get used to how much it sucks to get killed in this game and kind of move past that. But right now, even after 40 hours, which is absolutely nothing in this game, I feel like I can compete at the level where I'm at right now, and I am being matched against similarly skilled players, and I really feel like the matchmaking right now does a pretty good job at that. Like, I don't feel like I ever get um sorry, like I ever get really insanely good players in my lobby. Also, like many other competitive games deal with smurfing, I have not seen any of it so far. Like that there's just one guy that is insanely good. Every now and then you might run into the team that is just clearly better than everybody else, but for the most part it's okay. And if you take this MMR away, you're just gonna have a lot more better players hitting on newer players, and that's, in my opinion, gonna turn even more people away from the game.
So, please go ahead.
No, I haven't really got much to add. I kind of Stoney's sort of summed it up pretty well.
Okay, I got you. So I was gonna say an important aspect to remember here, not to like try and change your view of this, because I don't disagree with you at all, either of you. Just remember that these 6-star, 5-star players, they are the lowest population of players in the entire game. So the chances of you running into one if there were, say, no MMR is extremely low, or at least running into many of them. Maybe one per lobby, if that. There's so many more players in 3-star, 4-star, or less MMR. That would be a majority of the population. So, would you have games by chance where you've got a bunch of 6-star players throwing bombs at each other? Yes. Would it be happening a lot? No. Does that change my opinion on it? Still no. I think that MMR needs to be in the game because I find more often than not, we talked about the onboarding, the tutorial, etc. My biggest concern with Hunt right now is new players and getting them in here so they can try the game. Because no matter how we spin it, there's almost nothing Crytek could do to make older, more veteran players not hate the game anymore. There's like nothing they can do. So we need new blood, and we need these people to feel welcome in the game for how brutal Hunt is. we need to make them feel more welcome. So removing MMR is a fucking terrible idea. I'll stand on that hill. It's hard enough to get into the game.
Haxton in the previous podcast had some very vocal opinions about this topic, and I think one of the points he made, that is something they should take a look at. Like he mentioned, if he plays with his lower ranked friends, he is being put into a lobby against full stacks of 6 stars. And he's then a 6 star, and what I understood, his friends are like 4, like us, more 4, 3 stars, something like that. So I think they could make it a little heavier if a lower, like let's say you have 1 6 star and 2 4 stars join his squad, they should be put somewhere in like a 4 to 5 star lobby. Like that 1 6 star player in that squad is not going to carry them against everybody. So that would be something I think they could take a look at to maybe make this a little bit better for the 6 star players.
I agree. Because 6 star players are already alienated enough, and now they can't even play with their new friends. They try to get in the game. It's like, fuck, what do you do? It's a lose-lose. It's a lose-lose. MMR isn't good for any... MMR isn't the solve all. It's not the solution for everything. In every game, there's always issues in some way with MMR. But ultimately, I feel as though we would just be so much worse without it.
I agree. There's no way to. I just can't see how they can
like it's a big band-aid. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't cure the wound, but if we take that band-aid off, we're gonna bleed out. So let's just leave it on there for now. We'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Oh.
And also, I'm not sure like where would you draw the line with that. I'm just in my head thinking about other games that have ranked game modes. Sometimes you have a cap, like relating that to this game, a 6 star would not be able to matchmake with a 2 star because that is too far apart. You would have like something called rank disparity.
Yeah. So the way it would be is like 2s, 3s, and 4s. Like 2s can't play with 4s, but 3s can play with 2s and 4s. It's the just whatever's adjacent. So 6 stars can only be able to play with 5 stars.
Something like that, indeed. But then I'm also thinking if they would implement something like this, you would get smurfing if people want to play with their friends. Like if I am 6 star and my friends are 2 star and I just like playing with them and I am sick of playing alone, I'm just gonna make a second account. I'm sorry. You know?
I mean, that would stop my friend playing entirely. I play with a friend a few days a week and in duos, and he's a 2 star. And yeah, like he's 1 2 star, sometimes in the 1s. And he will only ever play with me. Like he has no interest in playing this otherwise. So if it got to the point where we just couldn't play with each other anymore, that's a player lost, just because he wouldn't have any inclination to play. So yeah, it's a real tough one.
And then you would need 2 different you need 2 queues like in every other game where you'd have ranked and then not ranked. But then you end up with so many other problems. Like, okay, cool. Now there's 2 game modes. How do we incentivize people to play in ranked and not just play in normal games? Where do we cut the line?
Ranked rewards.
Right. And then this gets into not feeling like hunt anymore to an umpteenth degree. Because at this point we're adding, like, people talk about the codification of hunt, like Call of Duty. And that is the most codification I've ever fucking seen. Hey, here's the season's ranked rewards in Hunt Showdown, everybody. That doesn't just, the way that sounds coming out of my mouth is like poison. It just doesn't feel horrific. Like Hunt at all. Guys, you get this special gun skin if you can get to gold in this season of Hunt.
Oh, don't. That's horrible.
Yeah, honestly, I see what you mean. It would kind of turn into any other shooter game.
It just sounds
and it
awful.
Is right now very unique.
You get a dab emote.
I can't, dude. Oh my god.
There's too many Smurfs in Hunt Showdown. I can't get my skin this season. Fuck.
I can't, man. I hate it.
Yeah, that would be another thing to blame your deaths on. Oh, he was a Smurf.
Oh god,
No.
This guy is clearly smurfing. This is a Smurf. This is a 6-star loadout. I can't do it. Devs don't know how to fix the fucking game.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really difficult issue. It's always a sensitive subject. Really, I don't think there is one way to solve it. And like you said,
Hell no.
right now, how it works, it is fine.
At the very least, it's serviceable, and we would be so much worse without it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Man, I think we got everything.
I can't think of. I think we've covered every aspect of the game.
Let's go!
I still
We've
have
got
this extra
literally everything.
point. Do you have any questions for someone who just started? But Kelpy has kind of been clutch here, asking lots of questions. So yeah, good job.
Yeah, no, sorry. I feel like I didn't mean to be like taking
No,
over.
Bro, you're fine, man. I get to sit back, relax a little bit this time. This is great. Usually I have to be the mediator of everything. This is awesome. You basically filled in as my dead man this cast.
Yeah. No worries, man. It's good though. It's good fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Do any of you, before we go into like summaries, closing arguments, whatever the hell you want to call it, do any of you have any points that you feel were missed or needed to be discussed? Anything you wanted to say that you didn't get to earlier? Anything like that? I want you to be heard, if that's the case.
I'm looking through my notes. I think
it is perfectly fine if you don't. I just want to make sure that you have the chance.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I think I'm good. I was kind of worried we were going to retread a lot. That's already been said, but I think we've done quite well in discussing some new aspects as well. And yeah, I think we've done all right.
I'm just wondering what the hell I'm going to do for the next cast. I got 6 stars, I got 3 stars, and like new players.
Console players.
No, fuck
Console
that.
Players.
Yeah, console players are like unicorns. You can hardly find one.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Console players only, because I think they have such a different experience in my head.
Also, how are you going to record? And has Discord on console? It sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. It's really a hit or miss.
Maybe I'll call them on my cell phone and just play the audio into my mic so that everybody can hear me. I'll Skype the console players so that we can have another community cast. What the hell do I do now? Players who hate Hunt.
Oh, there are plenty there.
Players
so many
who have
people messaging me.
Yeah, like players who have genuinely like no bullshit quit and not played for like 2-3 months.
Wait, that's a good idea.
Yeah, like people who have like, because people always go, "Oh, I'm not playing it," but people who have actually like, you go on their Steam, they haven't played it. They've actually like something has actually like been the final nail in the coffin for them.
Kelpy, what the hell? Cool. That's a heater idea. I'm gonna have to reach out. Hey, players who have quit Hunt, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, that would be really interesting.
That would be interesting. Damn, that's a good idea. Damn, I'm brainstorming. All right, that's enough brainstorming. Everybody on this cast, I can't thank you enough for joining me today. Where can people find you, if anywhere, if there's any social medias that you want out there? It's okay if you have none. It's totally fine.
I'm a nobody.
Let's go!
Same. Just a gamer with a regular job.
Anything for you, Bob?
My Twitter account where I post art occasionally is at I_B_TedleBob. So follow there.
Send me that link. Send me that link. I'll put it on the screen here so people can check it out. Love that. Love to support people where I can. Perfect. And as always, everybody. Oh yeah, here's the members on the screen. I'm just gonna do this in post. I don't want to fucking read their names. Love you guys. Members, YouTube, Patreon. Love you guys. You're all so based. Appreciate you. If you're one of the sort of small creator, don't be afraid to maybe try here first. I would appreciate it. There's still time for the community banner competition. If you want to win $200 and just take it out of my own pocket, hey, upload a meme. It might fucking win. It's a popular vote at the end of the day. And if you have any other ideas for the remainder of Community Month, hop in the Discord and let me know. But for now, that's all I had to say. Anybody else have anything to say before we go?
One final note about the banner competition.
Yeah.
Here's what I've been working on for that. If you want to show that on screen.
Damn!
Yo!
Oh my god, that's sick!
Wait, that's heat!
Hey, dude, did you take inspiration from Rainbow Six Siege? It really reminds me about, of the...
Is that,
is
that castle on the left, bro? Is that castle, bro?
I don't think I've ever looked at anything from Siege, but maybe subconsciously.
Unironically, I could see this. This is heat,
a reinforced wall is in between.
I could see.
I could
see this winning, bro. This is heat as fuck.
I love that. That's awesome, man. That's you're really talented.
Great.
Good for you.
Yeah.
But check out this motherfucker's Twitter, dude. This is gas. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this banner competition. It's gonna be awesome. So for those who are interested, just to touch on that a little more, I'll put this on the screen so people can see this is awesome. It doesn't have to be as amazing as this guy's art. If you want to upload a meme, it's totally possible that you win if it's funny enough. It's a popular vote. I have no say in who wins, but whoever wins gets $200 from me, and they're immortalized on my official YouTube banner. So please don't ruin the face of my channel with something obscene.
No AI art.
Oh. I did not say no AI art, but if it's going to be AI, you have to admit it. Don't fucking hide it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us all here today. If any of you want to say anything to any of these wonderful players, don't be afraid to hop in the comments or in the Discord. They're all in the Discord. We would love to talk to you about your own opinions on things and discuss them further. But for now, that'll be all today. So, as always, stay blessed.